to recheat me, make the nuclear fight back, so you better step back, cause I'm unstoppable. Come. No need to break for me. Come. No need to cry for me. I'm the cloud on face. No one's gonna break me. So far, no one can stop. No need to break for me. No need to cry for me. This is my own place. No one's gonna break me.
What is up, everyone, and welcome to the GCS Unofficial English broadcast. I am D2. With me is the source. Looks like we have Moon Hope, if I'm reading those characters correctly. I obviously don't know Chinese, but I do know some Japanese. But in any case, this is Taiwan's GCS, the $100,000 Arena Valor Pro League, and what we believe to be the strongest league in the world. And that will be in full evidence today as we have AHQ, the Korean roster, who are currently the world champions, going off against SMG, the AIC champions from last year. That is our powerful first matchup. And in our second match of the day, we have J Team, who is in first place in this league, going off against Team 1. The source, this is going to be a good day of games.
Yeah, and we'll get to see an SMG that's on the rise, an AHQ who has been solidifying themselves, J Team who are standing atop, and one who, unfortunately, are like this is the worst time for them to face J Team, but they have to dig deep to win this one, because with Flash Wolves having the performance they had yesterday, the top of the table is opened up, and then the bottom of the top of the table is opened up, and the bottom or the middle where playoffs is happening, it's just gotten a lot more dangerous for teams like One and AHQ.
Yeah, Team 1 we're not as excited about as a team per se, but they are certainly desperate to get in the playoffs as they have fallen a game behind SMG, who has surged in the standings behind getting a bunch of upsets off. But whatever happens with One today, it is going to be dramatic. Whether they get crushed or whether they score an upset, it is going to be very huge for them and could either be their death knell or their comeback today.
Yeah, especially because they play Flash Wolves next week. Like their road to the playoffs is a difficult one. So the more wins they can pick up, the more opportunities they can gain an advantage, the better, because it's going to be a long road.
And we have our traditional casters, Ravi and Vic, on for these important matchups here. Now let's get back to the AHQ SMG matchup, because that is the first one we're going to be having today. Now, SMG, like I mentioned, just on an absolute tear, defeated J Team, defeated Flash Wolves before they fell apart, when they still had Shishi in the lineup. So that's even more impressive when you go back and think about it. And AHQ have always just been solid. They've never really been blown out of a match, even when they've lost to the top teams. So can SMG complete the trifecta, beating the number 1, 2, and 3 teams in the league? They've obviously done it to the number 1 and 2, as you can see on our standings here. And SMG, they used to be, just a little while ago, they were, I believe, 1 and 5, tied for 6th with Mad Team. And again, just booming up the standings. And not only that, but they did it by beating the top teams and not feasting on an easy schedule. They now, after this particular match, get to feast on an easy schedule going forward after this.
Yeah, their next 2 games are Monster Shield, Monster Shield, but that should be a free win for SMG if they're able to play fairly well. And then they play One, who around their level, pretty much an even fight. As long as J Team beats One and J Team beats One and SMG wins their game against Monster Shield, one team can. I think they have to win 3 to secure it. It's close, but Monster Shield is an easy win for SMG. So SMG are very much in control of their own destiny. If they win all of their games, then they're into the playoffs.
Right, and that's what they've been able to achieve this far, getting one ahead, securing a 1-game lead onto one team. One team just throws me off whenever I talk. It's just too many ones. Not to mention that one is homophone or homonym with the thing where the win past tense. Any case, complaints aside, SMG and AHQ is a huge match because if AHQ wins, they're almost certainly making the playoffs. It's very hard to fall out after that. Whereas if SMG wins, they go from dangerous to much more comfortable.
Actually, though, if AHQ wins this, they're at 8, and it would require one team to beat J Team.
Chaser's back.
Chaser's back? Oh, Chaser's back. Interesting. I mean, AHQ did have some issues with one.
Yeah, one kept banning out the only heroes that Pew could play. So
yeah. And the matchup did get more difficult. So, I mean, being able to flex the player in and out is definitely an advantage. Now, in this scenario, if AHQ wins this game, I don't think that they can fall out of playoffs. Right. It would require SMG and one team to win all of their games, and that literally cannot happen because they play each other.
Right. So this is match point here. If AHQ wins this, they're in the playoffs.
Well, actually, if SMG wins all 3 of their games, then they'd be at 9 wins. If AHQ were to lose all games except for their matchup against one team, it could go to a tiebreaker. If AHQ wins this, though, then they're secured.
Yeah,
I believe.
Yeah, they would be in extremely good position. So they really want to get this win. So too does SMG, because a loss here for SMG means they're kind of relying on J Team to take out one team, and we've seen some crazy things. Let's take a look at SMG here. Liang just absolutely beastly in that side lane. He's going to be backed up by Chi-Chi in the jungle, Hanzo in the mid, Serenia on that side lane, and Genji on the support.
Yeah, and they've done a better job as SMG, just kind of not... They haven't run into any issues where they've pigeonholed themselves in the draft. They haven't been taking super over aggressive team fights. They've basically brought their entire level of play up a couple notches across the board. It's not like they developed one strategy to the exclusion of all else and become like a master of something. They've just kind of risen overall.
Right, and as we've seen when they reversed it and on that one massive stage where tears were coming out of their eyes after they beat J Team, they just got more solid. There was nothing really magical, or maybe it was magical, but they just went from being a team that didn't have it put together to a team that suddenly understood what it took to win. As we take a look at AHQ's coach, Rainer. I wonder if
I assume he's saying something interesting.
Actually, I'm going to turn on the auto for one moment. Is he speaking? Okay, he's speaking Chinese. So I wonder how maybe he's bilingual?
Must be. And I've done some quick maths. If AHQ win this game, then they will be at 8-4. The most SMG can do is match them at the most SMG can do is to match them at 8 wins, and at that point, one team will have lost to SMG in the final match, making it so that one team could not make the playoffs. So as long as AHQ wins this game, they are mathematically in the playoffs.
Yep. Not to mention that with Flash Wolves falling down and our concerns with them with replacing Shishi, AHQ could very well pass Flash Wolves in the standings.
Yes. If AHQ were to win all of their remaining games and Flash Wolves were to if AHQ were to win every single remaining game for them, they would overtake Flash Wolves at 10-4, and Flash Wolves would be at 10-4 with a tiebreaker loss to AHQ.
It could come down to the games as well, but we'll have to see.
Yeah, it could. So if AHQ win all of their games and Flash Wolves drop both of their series, then AHQ will overtake them. And for that to happen, they'd have to lose to one and then obviously lose to AHQ because they play each other on the 20th. So it's getting real close.
It's a big one between these two teams. And not only that, but even if the playoff picture holds as it is right now, which is very likely, or possible if not likely, I should say, this match will still be mentally very important for these two teams because they're very likely actually to meet each other into the playoffs. So
Yes.
whoever take this will have the mental advantage going into the next series. That could be massive.
Yeah. I'm just trying to see if there's any other weird playoff upsets.
It's fine. And let's get into the draft here. Starting off with Cricknack and Roxy. Wow, I just realized that Crixie is a combination of Cricknack and Roxy, but not in playstyle.
Totally not the plan. Totally not intended. There's actually still a scenario where Mad can make playoffs.
That's really interesting, but probably would require SMG to just.
It's not gonna happen, but it could. But
Matt has been playing well enough that it's not. It wouldn't be the craziest thing ever. It's still like a 1%er. It's not like a point.
It requires them to beat HKA, which they can do, but it also requires them to beat J Team, and then for a bunch of other very particular matches to go certain ways.
All right, so because the Yevoneth and Koresh bands came in, we have Richter into the draft once more. We have
my!
And we have it on Sun once more. Why is it that Sun is the only player who gets to play Richter in the GCS?
It's because he's a god, and everyone should praise the Sun.
He just Jedi mind tricks his opponent into letting him play Richter.
It's because the reason he gets to play Richter is because he's Sun, as in he's the player on that team who would play it. The reason he's getting it through the draft, I honestly have no idea.
Well, that's what I meant.
I think teams are opening up to new draft scenarios similar to this. In another world, if you don't technically count Ignis as first pick, first ban worthy, right?
Yeah.
You just got Lind plus a high priority mage.
Right. So SMG is saying, okay, we're going to ban Crest, knowing that we're letting through Richter, but we're also letting through Ignis Lindis, who we think are the top two ban-worthy heroes here. So by letting through Richter, they know that AHQ will take him, and they get what they want on the other end. So that's what SMG is thinking at this moment. Now, AHQ, they employed this Fennec strategy earlier, and it worked the first time, trying to just rush down towers. It got completely countered in the second game as their opponents knew exactly what they were doing. And thus far, they have just picked the Fennec and have no real backup behind it as far as forcing down towers.
I'm okay with the Fennec here because the difference is in that game where they got stopped, they had Yevoneth, who was stopping them from getting near the towers. He was stopping them from being able to clear them, do anything with the minions. He would instantly pop Nature's Realm and burn down minions while stopping them from getting anywhere near anything. So it worked there. I'm also okay with the AHQ strategy because we've seen over the last few days, now that we have this new snake drafting system, that side laners are at a premium. It is hard to get them. They have now secured Omen plus Richter, two strong, high engaged side laners. You then feel comfortable that you can pick up a good jungler. You get the Fennec. All they need to do is find one more tank and a mage, and their composition is very solid for AHQ.
Yeah, I'm obviously great with the Omen Richter. I'm just looking at the Fennec. I feel like they could go Omen Richter, anything else really, and be in a little bit better place.
Yeah, but I think that they're realizing that you can't, like, Violet is not as good of a jungler as she used to be, so you have to be, like, they may still pick, well, actually, maybe they won't pick Violet here, but you've realized that Violet's not a good enough jungler anymore. Like, she's not as safe as she used to be. So, in terms of having a marksman out of the jungle, Fennec to me is a better pick over the Slims. I think that he brings roughly as good damage and team fighting towards the middle portion of the game, and he adds objective control that Slims doesn't bring.
Well, we have a bit of a change here in our bands, our mid-draft bands, as we only have one side laner. It's going to be Flash and Net for the bands of SMG, and Pura Kilgroth on the side of HQ. And that feels a little bit like a throwaway ban on the Pura. Although Pura can, I guess she can kind of protect. the Ignis. All right, we're looking at a hover on Amelie, and Amelie did get a reasonably significant buff.
I'd rather see Astra over Emily. Oh, okay.
I think that I think
I was
Emily's,
mostly memeing with that, but
no, I think Emily is actually pretty good now. So her
she could be a good
ultimate-
answer into the Richter in just terms of dueling.
right? And her level 3 ultimate, which you get at level 12, is way stronger now. They basically buff the damage resistance to 100, which means that after all other armor and damage resistance effects are calculated, she gets minus 100 on top of that on every single incoming piece of damage. That includes auras, that includes little stupid things like, Fafnir's. So, for instance, if someone has a Fafnir's, it reduces 200 damage basically, because every single thing that says additional damage or any extra thing is actually more. And oh my goodness, AHQ has been studying Thailand.
I feel like that's an interesting commitment without the Ebeneth and a particular target for it. Chognar is a good answer back. It lets them just kind of say no.
This is literally the first time we've seen Natalia in GCS, I believe.
True, but almost every character on SMG will die if caught by Natalia. So I'm not against it.
No, I'm excited.
I thought you were like this is a weird thing.
No. I said, oh my god, like it's actually happening. They've actually studied other regions. I'm not saying Thailand's bad. I'm saying like they actually followed it instead of just picking Crixie or something.
I think as long as Liang doesn't pop off, AHQ still has this because their damage output is through the frickin' roof. They also have plenty of small CC that isn't high committal, so you're not looking at the Chaos Protection getting overwhelming amounts of value. Yeah, it could stop the World Devourer, but other than that, you're looking at pretty consistent knockups from Richter, slows and pullbacks from the Omen, and then a reasonably short cooldown stun coming out of Natalia. There's enough just optional CC that Chognar is good, but Chognar is going to have to eat a lot of it, and that gets dangerous very quickly.
What do you think about the decision to go for Grak rather than Mina? I feel like Mina would have been a bit better here, though I do appreciate the change in strategy and the fact that they're actually adopting strategies outside of Taiwan.
Mina's arguably better, by far. Like she requires less. She requires less pieces of Exodia.
Arguably, by far.
Well, you could say that there's a place for Grok in specific compositions where you wouldn't want to go the Mina because the Chognar is there, and so that I think is where Grok overtakes the Mina, is because Chognar was available. You can stop an entire Dark Dominion, whereas if your crowd control is in a couple more places. If it's on the hook, which is a little bit harder to Chaos Protection, there's space for Grok to thread the needle on opportunities Mina could not.
Well, I'm just excited about this game in general, as that, I believe, was stolen.
That got stolen.
Yeah. Because looking at this draft, there are maybe 4 heroes that you would have seen in GCS a couple of weeks ago. So, maybe 5. So it's...
Things have changed.
Yeah, especially on the AHQ side, this is radically different from what we've seen, and I'm really excited to see it. As you see Sun just kind of chilling out. I'm talking about the portrait in the bottom left corner, not on the screen right now. We'll see how this all plays out. We'll see this. I'm really interested in this Ignis versus Natalia, because Doizer, one of the biggest Thai content creators and YouTubers, streamers, etc., he put out a tier list like basically crapping on Ignis. I mean, not intentionally, but he put him very, very low. And so Natalia is like the Thailand Bay, whereas they haven't recognized Ignis at all. And Ignis is very high in Taiwan, so that whoever wins that or whoever has a greater impact on the game is going to be very, very interesting.
Yeah, I mean, to me, I mean, we're still open.
J-Jock.
Oh my god, J-Jockey's going to go so low. He does hook back in Chi-Chi, but that was a lot of damage that must have come out very quickly. A pretty heavy full burst combo. Now Hawk in trouble. He's going to take a little bit of damage off of that Lunar Champion, but should be fine. So overcommitment on a Jungle Evade, I assume, and that's going to be SMG taking the Spirit Sentinel and the Abyssal Dragon. because it looks like that's what Lindis is kind of just doing.
Yeah, we'll see if she's able to take that. This mid matchup between Ignis and Natalia should come. I mean, Ignis wins the longer people hang around, but Hawk should be able to clear the way of it very, very quickly. Here comes Angelic Splendor onto Emily. I believe a bit of an overcommitment there from Serenia. Probably didn't need to go help out, as they're already taking down Sun at the time.
Sun's gravity, man.
That's,
I mean, freaks people out.
It does. They were already kind of losing that, so interesting. Also, Chaser on the Omen. This is a big difference from Pew. So maybe AHQ has worse play calling, but they have the better individual play here, arguably from Chaser, because we've seen Pew's Omen and it's not the greatest.
No. His strength lies in where he comes into the middle of a team fight. His Malik is good, despite my personal aversion to Malik. That's going to be the hook onto Hanzo. They get a lot of damage into there. They should be able to finish the job. No, the Thieves Mark isn't going to proc, and that's great damage coming in from Shishi. They do not manage to make it happen. They get a lot of damage in from Hanzo. And J-Jock, he falls, so despite landing the hook, did not have the World Devourer. No, he's not even level 4.
Well, still, Hanzo took the entire Natalia combo there. Sun's going to go in with this ultimate, try to hold off the members of SMG. Liang actually has to flicker on out of there just to avoid all that damage. That's funny, you see Liang actually building double Pendant of Faith, realizing the mana issues that Emily can have, especially if she's not actively rotating or out of the fight, because as you know, the passive on her second ability allows her to do that, but Liang realized he's going to be constantly fighting in that lane. But in any case, like I was mentioning before, the full combo from Hawk went on to Hanzo. He did not miss, and it's just absolutely astonishing how he was able to survive through that. Between the healing, between the shield, that was a narrow miss. Between the healing, between the shield, and also the heal there from Chogner as well. So I'm just, again, astonished that he was able to survive through that. And actually, I just realized now he has Purify, so that will get him out of a lot of these stuns, and maybe more useful than Flicker.
Yeah, that's a good adaptation, just from his standpoint of where he's going to have to take his fights. They are putting some damage onto this Abyssal Dragon. I mean, now is the time for them to commit to this. They don't necessarily, they should know, actually. Sun's definitely told them that the Lindis is on the top half of the map. They can secure this fairly easily, so they will grab that. Now putting some pressure onto Genji. He'll take some additional auto attacks, full stacks on the Thief's Mark. Hawk. That damage isn't there just yet. Hawk looking for his opportunity. That's going to be the stun, but a Chaos Protection is through. No hook to connect. Kind of the expected result, but it's pressure coming out from AHQ, and they haven't rolled over just yet.
I think if he didn't auto-aim on his lethal rays, he could have gotten that kill. It went off in some random direction at the very beginning there, but still nearly takes out Chogner by himself, and that just goes to show you the absolute devastation that Natalia can bring. And despite the one similarity between being relatively immobile mages, obviously you get the movement speed from Ignis, but they could not be any more different. One's very, very pokey and harassy, one's very bursty, but Serenia's in a lot of trouble, takes a Death Embrace.
Yeah, they're going to drop the tower.
And Serenia goes down as well behind that burst from Hawk. Hawk's going to flicker away, lots of damage coming from Holy Ember. Down goes Chaser. J-Jock is extremely low as well, but again, he's going to focus on the Hawk here. J-Jock says, Hawk, buddy, you're gone. Oh no, almost gets the hook onto him as well, but I believe that's 3 members having been taken out here on the side of HQ. And the fans love it, as we all know SMG are fan favorites.
Yeah, too many resources burned for too little gain. They needed to drop the... Honestly, I don't think they should have committed for the kill. I think they should have just dropped the tower, poked it, because then, even though it would have been 4v4, they would have been at a higher health pool. And so far what we're seeing from SMG is they're doing a better job of just winning the 4v4 because the Grok hooks haven't been huge. They've been there, but they haven't resulted in a death. Just like an unbearable death. And if that had been ready for the brush, that's going to be J-Jock just getting stunned up, obliterated underneath the tower. The Chaos Protection gets the Chogner out, and he has been the target for Hawk ever since they failed to kill Hanzo the first time.
Yeah, and J-Jock, this is the issue with Grak. Sometimes we had a podcast with Rest a few weeks ago where he said Grak can play with your mental state, and sometimes because you start missing hooks and you feel like you can't do anything on the map Obviously, the opposite can be true. You feel like you can hit every single hook and you're just a world beater, but it might be entering the head of J-Jock at the moment, as he's missed quite a few of these hooks so far.
They need to really... I didn't need to stall things out or look for the Sun opportunity, for Sun to just give him the space to maybe make something happen. There hasn't been a lot of gank pressure top. Chi-Chi's been very focused on the bottom half of the map, trying to shut down Hawk and get them as many objectives as humanly possible.
Nice.
That's going to be a hook. It lands on the Genji, but that is the expected result. And now Liang taking some damage. Hanzo taking damage over the wall, but Hawk has been stuck still. Hawk. He's been stunned out. And that's going to be Liang going deep into the back line. Sun was not there to collapse. He may be able to now, but it's just been too split up for the side of AHQ.
I think a lot of this has been... A lot of the advantages that SMG has got are based off of what we haven't seen on the map, as Sun might go down here, get some damage resistance, and gets... Oh no, doesn't get out of there. The fadeaway Lunar Champion apparently just takes him out. But I was about to say, we haven't seen the duel between Liang and Sun, but it's at the very least even, and at worst, I think that Liang might be winning it, which is massive.
Liang is straight up. Liang's been straight up winning that.
Yeah,
like, up until that last fight, I wouldn't say he necessarily popped off, but he has been under really good control. But they gotta kill Hanzo. That's the chance. That's the time. You got him at less than half health, but they don't have the capability to go in there and do that because they are a fair bit behind.
Well, if you anyway,
gold.
Like we were mentioning, if you can beat Sun 1v1 in lane, you probably have the game won.
Yeah, if he's not doing some crazy X Factor play to bring them back in the game, I mean, it is still technically possible. We saw them on the last Richter game get fairly behind and then stall out for an extended period to the point where Sun got to a super late game and was able to kill pretty much anybody he wanted. Chi-Chi is still a very vulnerable target to Sun if given the opportunity. The problem is we haven't seen a single pick off of a good hook. And so far it's just been, okay, hook's down, we can team fight. And SMGs are just kind of slowly taking control.
Yeah, and as we say that, SMG taking down the Sage Golem as well. Liang continuing to put pressure onto Sun in that top lane, as you can see on your minimap there. Collapsing onto the Darkslayer is SMG. And at the moment, it's uncontested. AHQ might become privy to this in a moment. Though, as I say that, the Enraged Abyssal Dragon has come up, so perhaps they go over there. And oh my god, Liang and Hanzo sniff this out, that they could be here. And Chaser and Rush have to just go back.
Do they though? Chaser stayed.
Chaser.
Yeah, honestly, if I'm Chaser, I stay, because you need to be able to see what's going on there. You've been off map for a really long time, but like you honestly need that information. You need to know if they're doing it, because if they're doing it, that's a huge team fight opportunity for you to turn things around. Hawk is gonna pop full combo. Genji goes deep in the backline, try to put some pressure on the Sun and cut him off. But Sun should be able to walk away from that, so I feel like that's a chaos protection wasted. Still looking for that one hook. It only takes one hook for J-Jock to bring the team back into the game. It only takes one.
There's one.
That was probably not the hook.
That was an energy surge that just helped Genji get right there.
That is one. That is not the one.
Yeah, and SMG has opened up a pretty massive lead here, nearing 8,000, actually surpassing 8,000 damage, or gold, as I say that. As, wow, Hawk gets just obliterated here. And Liang gets pulled in, but that's a flicker out. He's going to be fine. Also has a lot of defense because, you know, that is a side later in Emily. Has those thick legs. She certainly doesn't skip leg day, as we like to mention. But now that's a nice hook onto Serenia. Is he able to get out? He has the malice to do so. So these hooks are just not having the effect that they need. And Chi-Chi's doing a good job of avoiding them. Ignis obviously has that Purify. So AHQ's not getting what they want. Serenia gets hooked. So they're hitting this. Actually, the Malleus gets cancelled there, but that doesn't matter because SMG responds by just diving the tower, going straight under there. They do not care. Sun getting a ton of damage onto him. That kick blade here from Liang just hovering around inside their base as he rotates to the bottom lane and tries to get even more done. That was a great split decision there from SMG, saving out Serenia. There's another hook on the Genji. Can the energy surge save him? He's going to take a lot of tower damage, but he's going to get out of there and just kill Sun on his way out.
Yeah, that World of Valor, if that's an even team game and not 10k down, you win that fight. You win that fight, and that's the turn. That's the opportunity back into the game. Although you honestly have to kill Hanzo here. You honestly have to kill Hanzo here. You really needed to kill Hanzo there. I mean, Serenya's a nice prize, but like that's chump change in comparison to the bounty you won on Hanzo's head at 7-0 and 5.
Right. Yeah. The bounty on Hanzo is nice. You kind of just get what you can at this point if you are AHQ, and slowly just inch your way towards a team fight that you can maybe take. And if you can take the team fight, maybe you can get the Hanzo there. But at this point, you know, beggars can't be choosers here for AHQ. They'll take whatever they can get. Luckily for them, they've managed to hold on to all their towers, but they're way too behind in gold to even think about taking a team fight, which means that this Abyssal Dragon is definitely going to go to SMG. And I imagine probably if SMG can't finish the game, then the next Dark Slayer and the next Abyssal after that as well.
Well, item-wise, they are catching up. You're looking at 3.5 items across the board for pretty much everybody. You get to that 4th, 5th item, you might be okay.
That is true. A lot of their deficit is on just J-Jock having nothing, which is kind of okay.
Yeah,
because he's just a hook machine. He doesn't really need to
like
be.
J-Jock is literally 4k of this lead. Like he's almost half of this lead.
Right.
So that's kind of okay.
Although that means he's taking a lot of damage. Yeah, it has to actually flicker out of there. But if you can land some hooks behind these towers, you might be okay.
Oh, he's got Liang. That's a good kill. If as long as they get that kill, that pop, no. They needed that one. Now Chaser going to take a bunch of damage. Serenia into the backline. Chaser is literally obliterated by the combo coming up from Liang. Sun's going to go into duel him, but he still has the Dark Blessing on him. There are no minions in range, so the core is not going to go down just yet. They won't be able to finish this
Hawk!
up. But if they lose Hawk,
wow.
Hanzo has just been completely outplaying. And, you know, Ignis better than Talia.
I love your nickname for her. Talia just gets destroyed by Ignis. The crowd is pleased. They got the cave for the fist pump from the man on the right. And SMG take game number 1 in what was very, very decisive.
I mean, SMG coming for your wins, man. They're looking at your rank and like that seems achievable. Not like
SMG is just unstoppable.
Like no, I think that looks achievable. We're gonna take 3rd place from you. We're gonna win all 3 of our games, and we're gonna watch the Fastwell fall, and we're gonna be SMG in 2nd place. Like it's gonna happen.
Well, SMG said, "Okay, you guys won AWC, but we're the original AIC champions, and we're going back." SMG just saying, "You know what? We don't care if it's Flash Wolves. We don't care if it's J Team. We don't care if it's AHQ. We're coming for your money." Hawk did have 52,000 damage, not nearly the amount of Hanzo, but did lead his own team. Hanzo 44,000 damage is nuts.
Yeah, the Grok just didn't do anything.
Yeah, I really felt like Mina would have been slightly better there. But one thing that we have to mention is that SMG Liang kind of stealth carried that game for me, because not only did he win the lane, but they baited out the Richter pick so that they could get Lindis Ignis. So they baited out they allowed Liang not only beat Sun, who is Sun is
the more important part.
What?
I think that him beating Sun is the more. I'm not sold that the Richter was the wrong pick and that they got baited by the.
No. I'm not saying it was baited. I'm just saying it was. Well, it was slightly baited, but what I'm trying to say is that SMG, they were so confident in letting Richter go because they knew that Liang, and maybe Liang just told him this. Liang was like, "I got it. Let them have the Richter. I can beat him. Just get me Amelie in the 4th pick." With the 4th pick on their side, which is the 9th pick, 7th pick. With the overall 7th pick of that draft, he won a lane against the 1st pick.
Yeah, no, that is definitely that to me is the more impressive part. Is the fact that they were able to play a pick we weren't really expecting in the I guess it won the lane, but I also want to say that I guess it wins the island. I would love to see another example of it, but if Emily is able to just beat Richter, then that lowers Richter's value in my eyes by a lot, because we haven't gotten a lot of sample size for Richter. It's like one win where Sun had to get super late game, and then just got bamboozled by an Emily. Yeah. To me, the more important part is that he won that lane matchup.
Right.
By just so much. Even if you get the Lindis Ignis, he still has to win the lane matchup.
There are a few... Yeah, I agree. There are a few possibilities here, having seen that. One, Liang is a god, maybe even more godly than Sun, and Liang certainly has been playing very well for many weeks now. Two, Emily is way better than people think, and if you're able to master her, then you can do a lot better, especially since she got buffed. Three, Richter is not as good as people think. Or four, a combination of 2 and 3, where Richter isn't as good as people think, because maybe Emily is a god, and so therefore you'd rather pick Emily first, and so therefore you don't necessarily need to ban Richter.
We've definitely been giving props to Liang over time, so to me, it feels like Liang showed up on a character that I don't think Sun knew how to beat. Right. Like, Emily got buffed. Emily is now like, she no longer has the same issue she had, and now you put that on Liang versus Sun, arguably one of the closest top lane matchups we could see in the entire GCS. Maybe you throw Yuzan into the mix there, but really those are two of the best Darkslayer laners we have in the league. And then you combine that with an even matchup that Sun doesn't know how to play up against. Liang, and it really looked like, from what I remember seeing, it was like 1 or 2 really nasty, just like kick blades that Sun wasn't prepared for, got a second bounce on him, and he was just constantly behind in health. Couldn't really do anything, lost out on a Spirit Sentinel, and it just snowballed from there, because no one was going to come help Sun. You put Sun on the island, you expect him to do good things, and the rest of his team were just like unbearably behind. And then Liang got like a really sick flank and killed 2 people. So
yeah, you especially expect Sun to win his lane when you
go
get the
even.
First, to get the
lane is a win or a wash.
Yeah, especially when you get the first pick on him, right? So
yeah, no matter the hero.
And AHQ deciding to ban Ignis. This is one of the first times that I agree with the Ignis ban, because that was monster play from Hanzo there. But other bans are coming out here. Crushed, Roxy. Interesting that SMG is banning out the Crush. Don't want that control to go over to AHQ here. And I don't want to belabor the point too hard, but AHQ, I've disagreed with the Fennec pick for 3 games now, going back to the last time we saw them. And they barely beat Team 1, who I believe they're significantly better than. And I just think that Rush needs to be able to play something more impactful.
Play the Zephys more. Like, get something that gets in the face of the opponent more, and now they've let the Richter through.
Ooh, Liang. Let's see Liang's Richter now.
Is Liang about to run it back on Sun and claim the duelist, the master duelist title away from Sun? Because Sun is both the best duelist in the Darkslayer lane, as well as one of the highest skilled macro level players, and draws the most attention while still reducing the amount of deaths. Like, he has the highest fight participation of any Darkslayer lane, like the highest amount of fighting going on, and the amount of times he gets ganked with the lowest death percentage.
Well, Liang has been coming for his throne for a while. I remember multiple games of Kilgroth where multiple people are coming on Liang, and he's like, I can fight you all. I do not care. But what we didn't notice through all of this is that the Yevoneth got through. So
Yevoneth Lindis?
Yeah, I would really like to see Lindis here, because it's just twofold. You take it away from the opponent, you get it for yourself. And if Rush even plays the Fennec again, I will be very angry. You've had your pet peeves on the stream. This is mine now.
Yeah. I can agree with it.
Well, they're going down to the wire. I really want to just...
No. Don't give them Lindis again. Okay. All right, so AHQ still believing in the side lane control, but they've given up Richter. If SMG, that should be Lindis
Omen?
priority mage.
What did Serenia play last game? He played...
Serenia played Xenial. So you don't have to worry about side laner. Maybe you do.
The Omen, though, maybe you could pick.
Yeah.
The Omen didn't really do a whole lot last game. We were talking about maybe.
Yeah,
Chaser
but it was on Chaser. And he got shut down through the flank gank in the bottom.
It was also
he
the
was doing
Abyssal
fine.
lane. It was also the Abyssal lane. So they had like two heroes who are typical
Darkslayer laners.
Yeah, far away laners. Where the opposite lane, obviously Darkslayer laners in that case, but they switched in the mid game. But yeah, so having Omen in that case wasn't the greatest.
Okay, so Lindis Xenial. I'm not sold on the Superman, but I won't hate it just yet.
Yeah, it's not Superman is fine. It's just that you're giving up the Lindis is the problem.
Okay, support Yebanath. So you've got a real heavy tank line.
I'm guessing that they're gonna have Omen in the DS lane now and have Superman, and even though Superman can rotate very quickly, having him.
This makes me think they're about to pick Fennec again, though.
Ay.
Like Slims
why are they
feels
so...
less good. Just take lane Violet. Take Violet in the lane. Seriously though. Like,
I just don't know why they're valuing Fennec so high.
I don't think that they're valuing Fennec so high. I think that they're valuing other things, and they feel like Fennec is their safest marksman jungler fallback. Although if you afraid of marksman jungler fallback, don't give them Lindis.
Yeah, I would rather have Slims though, or even Violet, even with the Soul Reaver nonsense, even with the Soul Reaver just issues that you have.
And now they've banned out Violet, so they're like, that's not an option for you anymore.
Yeah, although we didn't say the greatest. Was it AHQ who played? I'm having like memory losses right now. Who was the double marksman team that they played? Violet Valheim. It was Violet Valheim. Was that yesterday?
Valheim.
No, that was 2 days ago. Yesterday's session was very short. 2 days ago was like super long.
Yeah, that had to have been 2 days ago. Violet Valheim. Let me see.
I think it was
Violet
AHQ.
Valheim. It was AHQ. Yeah.
And like Rush didn't play the Violet very well. Remember he built Arcane Orb.
Yeah, no, his build was driving me insane. yeah.
They banned the Fennec.
Yeah, no. They're just taking away. Okay, so I should have said it. I was thinking about this. You go with the mage out of the jungle, and then you can go for a regular marksman. But they banned the Violet, so I don't know what marksman that is, other than maybe.
Oh, they took the Joker. This is so genius by SMG. I don't know if it's gonna work. No. But they're taking the mid lane marksman away.
Chaser's the jungler.
Yeah, I know. But
you're saying mid lane marksman in the Joker. Okay,
yeah. So by taking a jungler mage, AHQ is kind of signifying that they might take a Joker, because that's one of the only, before Elsu comes out, that's one of the only marksmen who can man the mid lane. Maybe like a Yorn, but that's solo queue. That doesn't really work.
I would do it with Wisp. Because it's one straight lane. This is the one time where I would advocate for a Wisp.
I think she's too vulnerable.
I think she's just escapable enough. It's a challenge, but with J-Jock sitting there as Yevanath to back you up, this is the one. I don't want them to do it, but it's the one time I could see it working. No marksman? Okay. It's a concern in terms of your damage, which means that the Superman's going to be squishy towards the early to mid game.
I'm not going to respond to the Ozenkon until they lock it in. I have things to say about Ozenkon, but
either way, if they're not running a marksman in the mid.
All right, let me just pull up Ozenkon. This is what we're doing.
Dust Devil, Sands of Time.
They did buff him slightly.
Okay, there we go.
There's the Joker. Okay. So this is what I was mentioning earlier. In that, so they play Joker in the mid, and what that allows them to do is to go for the opposite, I should say. The mage jungler allows them to go for marksman in the mid, and Joker, again, before Elsu comes out, is the really only legit mid marksman. The other ones are just kind of, you do it because you have to.
Yeah, you do it because you don't have a choice in the matter.
Oh, okay. I have an issue with Joker and his voice lines though, because
voice lines.
Yeah, he uses the killing joke, which is his rocket, and he goes, "Here comes the punchline," and punchline is his passive, and that makes it really hard as a caster because you're almost guaranteed to mix them up.
So the problem is that they use punchline. That shouldn't have been the name of his passive.
Yeah, they should.
If that was going to be the case,
just make it his first ability. Then, if he's going to say "Here comes the punchline," then make that his freaking name for his first ability.
Because that is one of Joker's most common voice lines in all of Batman.
Yeah, I have no problem with the voice line itself.
The use of it.
Yeah, I have a problem with why they named his first ability the killing joke and his passive punchline when he says anyway.
It's the same reason that Wisp has a useless passive. Like
nothing makes sense.
Things just happen. People make poor decisions all the time.
Right. Well, his punchline passive is very strong. It's actually more than twice as strong as it says in his ability description for those of you at home. We've done the math. And we actually have the formula if you go to samuraigamers.com. And that is the best plug you'll ever hear. In any case, getting this game started here as our junglers are off and running to their own respective jungles.
I think SMG's going to win this.
I would not be surprised. But a lot of it comes down to, again, these side lane matchups. I think the team fight is not necessarily super favored for one team over the other. There's ways for each team to out-execute. And it's not a situation where it's like, well, they just can't get to the backline. The backline's going to kill them all, right? No matter what they do, right? There's ways for both teams to make this happen, to out-execute the other team in 5v5 team fights. So I think it could go either way. And
so
a lot of it comes
Chaser
down to the
back
lanes.
to swap specifically the side lanes. Chaser's just back to swap the side lanes because he doesn't want to fight in the Richter. That's a lot of time lost in lane.
Yeah, very interesting that they did that. So it looks like AHQ thought it was going to be the opposite there. And we'll see this matchup again, Sun versus Liang. And Liang is wearing the daddy pants apparently in this in this matchup right now.
He's put on the boots, as they say. You would think it would be Liang in the top half of the map.
Perhaps they did that on purpose. Perhaps they kind of just mind gamed him.
No, I think it's specifically because you just want Xenial as far away from as possible. But that's gonna be some pressure on a Genji. He's gonna get the knock up. J-Jock still eating some free damage from Chi-Chi. I solely think that's because you want Xenial to be rotating to Abyssal Dragon with his ultimate. That's about it.
Right, and if you force the Omen away from that top lane, then you prevent him from bringing down towers if Xenial's there.
Yeah. So there's some poke. I mean, we're not at the point where I'd be afraid for Rush. We haven't really talked about what the Zilla's going to bring to this, which is...
Well, he can dive.
A good source of magic damage, but I wonder how well he's going to play into the Thane.
Right. Hopefully he's able to kind of maneuver to the side and get to the Lindis and Raz, but Sun taking a lot of damage here. I don't really see HQ being able to contest this dragon here.
Yeah, they're yielding it.
Yeah, J-Dog just kind of being annoying. Damage coming on to some members of SMG, but they're going to burn it down really quickly here as Rush and Honk hover over to Xenial. Can they take off this kill? They do have a lot of potential here as Chaser's pushing him back. Here comes the punchline from Joker. The killing joke finishing him off. Rush obviously helped a lot. And they get first blood, even up the gold.
Yep, and that's one of those times where you're just like, wait, Superman can push somebody back 4 times, and the skill is the highest priority skill in the game, meaning it beats nearly every other skill in terms of interaction. That's not busted at all.
It takes priority over everything, what?
Yeah, no, it beats almost every skill in terms of interaction. Like, if you're dashing towards Superman, or you're about to try and stun him because heat vision is a forward-moving. Technically, it's coded as a projectile. Right. So, like, if you're firing, say, a net wind cuffs at him, he will hit you with heat vision before the wind cuffs hit him, because the projectile is continuing to spread out from him at a unstoppable rate. Like, it doesn't stop going even if you stop his body.
Let's talk about Sun having to play in the Abyssal lane, because he is not nearly the fighter that Richter is in team fights. And not only that, he's not going to be able to be pushing down towers that he wants. So, not totally sure that the switch was needed here from AHQ. But they are going to be able to take down the tower. It looks like Chaser taking a lot of damage, but that's okay because Hawk's going to take down the tower in the end. That is first tower down here for AHQ, which opens up the map a little bit.
I think they want it because it's better. It's a better matchup. It's less of a loss. I think Richter into Superman. Richter's going to poke Superman. Superman's not really going to be able to do anything about him. Richter has far more dashes and ability to get away, so you wouldn't have seen what happened to Serenia happen to a Richter. Like, Richter is going to be able to dash through the Superman and get around him.
Oh, you know what I think it is? I think the biggest thing, I'm agreeing with you, by the way, is the reason why it's a bad matchup for Superman is that when Superman has to telegraph his movements, usually it doesn't matter because he hits you anyway, right? But he has to fly into you, and right when he flies into you, just pop the invulnerability on Richter, and it's like, nope, didn't do any damage, sorry.
Nope, we got a duel down in the bottom lane. That's going to be some pressure on the Sun. His health bar dropped to about half, so he did have to back up. So far, SMG losing one side of the map. Ooh, Hanzo, he needs to can laugh. He's very low. Also, the wave damage comes out from the Abyssal. That's a serious problem. Genji now pretty far into enemy territory, but he's keeping the teammates busy. Angelic Splendor comes through. Serenia's going to go in. They're putting a little bit of damage there on the Sun. Liang is going to go back in. Nature's Realm is there. That is slowing him down, but it's not enough to finish him. Actually, Liang, he gets Redwood rushed back underneath the tower, and the entire place starts to fall apart. They are going to end up trading... Actually, it was a tower advantage. Zill Rush, he picked that up in the middle. He is now in enemy territory, so might want to be a wee bit careful of his positioning. That's going to be the re-engage on a J-Jock. Genji looking for an opportunity. Slows coming in from Chi-Chi. That's a dead Yebaneth. Nothing you can do about that. But
well, he missed on one of his abilities, so that didn't allow him to Redwood Rush out of there in time. So that's a bit unfortunate on his side. But you see just the power of Richter there. And slight mistake there, the Nature's Realm not overlapping with the Death's Embrace, so they weren't able to stun out members, but just Richter getting in there versus 3, even though he had his teammates kind of in the way, but not only distracting, but nearly taking out Sun in the process.
Yeah, and despite being forced onto what would be a little bit of an awkward jungle pick in the Zill HQ, they are doing a good job of just keeping the pressure around the map. Even if they're not necessarily winning all of the engagements and not building a massive gold advantage, they are answering back with objective control when it comes to towers.
Yeah, exactly. And this is the classic AHQ strategy. The classic Team Korea strategy is just take towers. Don't worry about team fights. They can kill us all they want, but if their towers are dying, we're going to be winning the game.
So, possible play under the Yebaneth there is going to get stunned out. Takes a little bit of damage. A couple of power surges come through, but no full commitment. Has to be the Nature's Realm, but they're staying just outside of his range and still doing decent damage. They only end up committing one ultimate to that, so not that much of a loss for HQ, but they didn't extract anything from the side of SMG. Now we see a massive rotation in Serenia trying to clear out the waves, but he gets caught at the perfect angle for a Superman. All it takes is one Superman angle, and you're dead.
That was actually really nice by Chaser there, because he knew that by pushing in sideways at the right angle would push him back, but Rush going to get potentially caught out here. J-Jock going to have to pop Essence of the Wind to get out of there, but looks like they're going to be fine. Now, despite all that, AHQ didn't really open up any sort of gold lead, but Rush still has his jungle to rotate back to. So, in HQ, despite all this back and forth game, they're starting to gain a tiny lead here.
Yeah, and they do have the positional advantage. Granted, the fact that the gold is even shows how well the Abyssal Dragon control has been for SMG, and how close they are keeping things in farm, but the towers do open up maneuvering space for AHQ. They're looking for things. That's going to be Hawk going in. He puts a lot of damage on the Hanzo, but basically uses his full combo and doesn't secure a kill. It is going to create pressure, though, on the Abyssal Dragon, and at the end of the day, that's going to be advantage AHQ.
We should mention that Joker got a reasonable buff in this last match as well. Every time he uses Candle After, he gets, well, now that he's nearing level 12, 100% attack speed bonus. So look for his attacks to be just piling on the damage after that Candle After connects.
So you haven't seen an actual team fight in a while. It's been these kind of weird angled skirmishes. There isn't a great answer for Yebeneth on the side of SMG until Chi-Chi gets deeper into the build. And honestly, Rush is just kind of being allowed to free farm his way to, you know, a reasonably high amount of damage. That's going to be pressure onto Hanzo. They are going to get the Death's Embrace onto him, but out comes the Angelic Blender and the fight slows down. Now Chaser looking for his angle. Genji steps a little far forward, uses the King Glory, but that's not going to connect into anything significant. Now Liang, deep in the enemy backline, they should be able to bring down J-Jock, and Liang is going to be able to get the kill on the Hawk very, very deep. They're going to pick up the additional kill on, actually, no, Liang goes down. Rush is being chased. They get another kill. I believe that was onto J-Jock, and that is going to be SMG finally turning the fight in their favor. Now they need to convert it into some towers.
You guys just saw why Richter is absolutely ridiculous. That was a one fight for AHQ until Liang runs in there, not only distracts 3, but takes out 1 and force more members to chase him before he eventually goes down. And that was just a game changer in that fight.
All right, so Chi-Chi should be able to nab. Is this Enraged? No.
Yes, it is. Yes.
Yeah, it is. It is. Chi-Chi just does stupid damage. That's going to be a quick Enraged Abyssal Dragon. And they actually do get the slow. No, they don't connect the... Chi-Chi tried to get both the Lunar Champion and grab the Dark Blessing at the same time, so he wouldn't have to stop moving at all. And oh, that would have been nice if the Power Surge had connected. They literally would have just killed Sun.
Maybe. Untouchable's pretty good. It's a pretty good ability.
Hawk
and Genji literally just have a truce, I'm guessing. They could see each other, but they're like, not worth using my passive if you're Joker, and not worth using the Valiant Charge if you're Genji. So it's like, alright. Truce.
Oh, we've seen this song and dance before. Serenia under a little bit of Chaser, but it's a new tune as Chaser gets dropped super low. Now Hanzo looking for his angle. Genji going to be able to possibly cut this off. That's going to be slow to J-Jack. They full commit. Liang comes in. Wow. That's going to be a quick kill for them. Can they get anything else?
What?
Huge knockup from Richter. Rush gets dropped to half health. Richter, what's he got under his belt? He's got Spear. Interesting.
I have to say it, but the Chaser
that math doesn't work to me.
The Chaser has become the chased. Okay, I had to get that out before we moved on.
Nicely done. Meanwhile, Sun gonna die. Dueled.
Gonna get Angelic Splendor. An angel fell on him and he died.
I mean, Hanzo had that kill no matter what. Like Serenia didn't even need to do that.
Oh, he's a kill stealer. That's why. In any case, towers are going down here for AHQ. SMG has fully taken control. They've actually opened up a 4,500 gold lead, probably going to turn into 5,000 soon here as they're taking the jungle and the towers. So AHQ, despite having that tower lead earlier on, now they're actually behind once this goes down, and they're gonna have to find a way to catch back up. SMG really taking to them.
Yeah, that's the thing. If you manage to keep the gold even without having taken towers, you get massive gold spikes. Now there was a good team fight in there, some additional picks as well. But they did just drop 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 towers in the last 2 minutes. That's a huge amount of gold for them to be able to pick up. There is still a little bit of fighting there. Well, I'm not sure why they're fighting that, but they seem confident. That's going to be some damage on the Hanzo. He's going to get dropped super low.
Rush. Oh my god!
Rush gets wrecked. Yebeneth steps forward. J-Jock will be caught as well. I don't think that Nature's Realm is going to keep you alive for very long. He does Redwood Rush over the wall, but Serenia has the slow off of the Frost Cape. The kill comes through. Actually, no. Shield wall. They're going to trade out Hawk for him. No, everybody survives. So
that is Yebeneth for you. Just get
Yebeneth, the unkillable God King. Sometimes he doesn't do that well, and sometimes he just absolutely survives everything. And he really shouldn't. Chaser does manage to help them clear out the minions, so they will hold on to their high ground towers for now. But again, 7k gold advantage just instantly turned around.
I want to go back to what you mentioned about keeping the gold even-ish and then having that gold spike when you take down towers. I wouldn't try that at home because...
No. It is not a strategy. It is a saving grace.
Yeah. Because if you get behind in towers, it makes actually taking those team fights much harder, which actually makes it all the more impressive that SMG was able to so convincingly take the team fights because they didn't have the map positioning to their side.
Yes, it is. It is a silver lining that if you are behind in objectives but you've kept things up, should you win the team fight, you will spike in gold. Don't get behind so that you can win. Do not feed to win.
There, we have him where we want him. Serenia is actually starting to take the advantage here.
Chaser's dead.
Yeah, he has the Frost Cape.
Could have killed him.
Maybe. Probably didn't want to chase. He didn't want to get into too much trouble, but he is a pretty fed Xenial. It's very hard to kill a fed Xenial because
Serenia, Liang is slowly dethroning Sun. If you're gonna make your run for that title, you got to be willing to make the plays. Like, no fear, but
he just knows
it is all right.
He doesn't have much practice on Xenial. He only plays the Malak.
That's true. Let me tell you, Sun is the true Xenial killer. Like, Sun is the only person we've ever seen to just endlessly kill people on Xenial when he shouldn't.
Well, let me tell you, Serenia, Xenial is just as unkillable as Malak once you get him farmed up, because, again, he does damage without actually building damage. It's pretty good. And
I feel like Xenial brings more to the table than Malak does.
Oh, yeah, but, I mean, I'm talking to Serenia at the moment, so... he doesn't realize it quite
Limited hero pool.
Well, he's building it up as we speak. Alright, Drake is popped here. Gonna be most likely taking down this tower, as I don't think Rush is even able to tank this if he wanted. Not that he is at the moment. So down goes bottom tower, down goes middle tower, imagine, as they jump onto this J-Jock, getting extremely low. Gives the clap, but is probably going to fall. So does Hawk. The Nature's Realm coming out here, but that's not going to save his teammates, as all members are falling here. Chaser falls. So does Rush. Sun is in trouble. He's not going to be long for this world. Liang trying to get the hero. Genji just runs in there with that super cool Thane skin. And we see, I think there's minions pushing onto the top lane as well. Yeah, down goes this tower. And when you got 9 towers down, it is nearly impossible to come back. And that is going to be game number 2. SMG. Looking like the best team in the league.
I mean, let's take a hot look at their record. SMG 2-0 versus J Team. SMG 2-0 versus Flash Wolves. 2-0 versus HKA. 2-0 versus Mad. Now 2-0 versus AHQ.
Yeah, it's not that they've gone on a series streak. They've gone on a game streak as well. They have not lost to the top team.
I'm just saying that Flash Wolves, if Shishi's not back for Flash Wolves by next week, right? And they're very likely to stomp out Monster Shield. Love you, Monster Shield. Your coach is awesome, but probably not going to happen, guys. Flash Wolves not playing that well. AHQ showing some weakness. Honestly, if Flash Wolves be like there are scenarios where if this comes out down to a 9-ish win across the board, SMG could be first. It is actually mathematically possible for SMG to get first.
I don't think J Team's losing the 1 though.
Probably not, no. But it is mathematically possible. And very likely, we are going to see SMG overtake AHQ. I think that that's a foregone conclusion. I think that literally just happened right now. With a 2-0 lead, SMG moves into 3rd place over AHQ at 7-5. They're both 7-5, but SMG would have the map advantage.
Yeah, 18-12 versus 17-11. Technically, that's percentage-wise in favor of AHQ, but... SMG figure is going to be going ahead, going forward. In any case...
Oh, no, 18-12 over 17-13.
Oh, right, I'm an idiot. So, yeah, that's better.
Yeah, 18-12. So yeah, they come out ahead of them. They beat Monster Shield. Now you're looking at probably 8-5. I think that's a foregone conclusion. And then you beat 1. You're looking at 9-5. You could easily overtake Flash Wolves if Shishi's not back next week.
Yeah, that certainly could be the case. And, oh my god, Liang is just
very much deserves the MVP.
He is beasting it on all heroes, just completely dominating the lane against an Omen and dominating the team fights as well. That was just unbelievable from Liang here. And he might have just taken the crown from Sun, which is something we would have called blasphemy about a week ago.
So what I will say is Liang has now proven himself to be the best dueling top laner. Sun may still be the best macro top laner. because we did see SMG kind of run the table up against AHQ. They beat them on pretty much every front. Whereas what we've seen in previous situations is if AHQ is going even on the rest of the map and you leave Sun alone for a short amount of time, Sun knows how to clutch up in the high-level macro scenarios. And we literally never got any of those. It was really just kind of a stomp from the side of AHQ. Or from SMG, they just like constantly pressured. So I don't want to say that Liang can draw the gravity Sun draws and draw as many targets to his lane and then not die, because literally they just were like, nope, we're gonna play the isolation game. We're gonna leave you on an island, Liang, and we're gonna trust that you win.
I tend to remember some games with Kilgroth where there are 3 or 4 people chasing him.
No. I don't think I want to decrown Sun just yet on that front, but he is
you're faithful to your first love.
Sun still sits atop the throne. Liang just busted down the doors to the throne room.
Well, I have a hard time giving up my my faith to Sun as well, but Liang certainly just put his name. Well, his name was already on the map, but he just like stamped it all over the ground.
We were considering him the second best solo laner or Darkslayer laner in the GCS, along with Yuzin. It was like kind of a battle between them and who was showing up on the day. Now,
I do. Since we've gone to like the nitty gritty of all this match, I want to just point out something that we were kind of not on board at the time, but when SMG defeated J Team about 3 weeks ago. They were literally crying. And we were like, okay, that's unlikely to have happened. It's a great win, but I don't know if you'd be crying for a solid 5 minutes after that. But it turns out, and this is my interpretation, that they had to prove to themselves that they could be that good. And it was certainly a turning point, because if they had continued to lose, they were going to be done for the season.
Yeah.
So that's turned around their mentality, and as we've seen, since then, they have not lost a single game. So that was bigger than we could have imagined, and it just turned everything around for SMG, and they're dominating the league since then.
Yeah, it was the spark that lit the fire that is literally burning through the remaining GCS teams. Like, everybody has fallen prey to SMG.
All right. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, it is impressive to see a team really rally from the bottom all the way to the top.
All right. Well, looks like we have an interview they have an interview with Liang, and after this, we're going to have our match between J Team and One Team. Be right back, guys.
我去特别练一些不一样的角色，或是不一样，或是针对其他事情呢？
如果要讲不一样的角色的话，应该是我吧。我玩一堆奇奇怪怪的角色。
哦，你自己扩充了你的角色池是不是？奇奇怪怪的角色是指什么都玩吗？还是其实你有练一些大家还没有你没有拿出来，然后大家不知道的角色？
例如赵云啊这种我也试过。
赵云是不是？好，非常非常的特别。那其实讲到角色池啊，就会想要问一下，就是说你说你扩充你的角色池，然后我们这个礼拜呢刚好上了一个新机制，就是8 ban 的机制。那 SMG 或是阿亮自己对于这个新机制你是怎么看的呢
？8 ban 的话，就像他们第一把凯撒路 ban 的差不多了，本来要出凯格路斯的，可是好像被他们猜到了。
就是他们好像有蛮针对边线的，对不对？
对，那他把凯格路斯 ban 掉的话，那再来的选择可能剩夜叉，他也把他 ban 掉。
对，然后第二场
就剩下没几只了，那就拿一只出来扛就可以了。
哦，他们第一场的时候，他们是选了瑞克，然后你自己是拿出了艾米丽。你想要问一下，就是你选那个艾米丽的一个灵感是什么？
艾米丽这支英雄其实没有很强，但是
其实没有很强，可是因为我玩，其实
没有很强，但是被 ban 的差不多，那就勉勉强强。
哦，但你自己本身是有练艾米丽的吗？
有玩过几场，
就玩过几场，然后出来小试身手这样子而已，是不是？其实可以看到，就是阿亮的艾米丽那一场的发挥是非常好，让压的瑞克其实是没有办法跑线的。那这边想要问一下，就是你在用艾米丽的时候对峙瑞克上面，除了要想要注意的他的被动技就是他的战斗本能嘛，因为他单挑的时候会非常的强，然后还有什么要注意，可以导致让你可以压制他吗？
就像我第2把也有出瑞克一样，如果你懂他的话，你就知道怎么对付他。
就是
知己知彼，百战百胜。
在你面前玩瑞克，是不是就是要下去的感觉？好，那我们这边呢，非常感谢阿亮接受我们的访问。那其实呢，我知道 SMG 的家人一直都很关心你们，就是打比赛啊，还有你们的选手生涯。那听说阿亮的父母亲说也有来到现场，是你们的家人。那有没有什么话想要跟家人说一下？
就是真的很谢谢他们的支持啊，不管是打赢还是打输，回家吃饭都可以吃到妈妈的味道。
他们就是不管你们打赢打输，还是都会关心一下你们最近的比赛状况就对了。是的，好的，非常感谢阿亮接受我们的访问，也非常的恭喜 SMG 呢是再下一城拿下了这一场的胜利咯。那么我们接下来呢还有第2个 match， 第2个 match 呢将是要由 One Team 来对上 J Team。我们这边广告一下，休息过后马上回来咯。
Come on. No need a break for me. Come on. No need a cry for me. No need to run. This is my own place. No one's gonna break me. Stop.
李林上街，警察靠边。我一起迫不及待，要为你铺上新的色彩。Color round， 棒棒。丑八怪，快走开！嘿，免费大派送开始喽！
因为我本来就是做手机相关的行业，然后就还是会碰到手游游戏，然后玩下去就一发不可收拾。
其实玩传说的契机就是看周遭的朋友一起享受这份欢乐的时候，那是快乐的。所以，可是如今只剩下我在玩，因为他们没有我强。
因为我本身就喜欢这种 MOBA 类型的游戏，那我在这个游戏的经验也比较丰富，那也热爱比赛，然后刚好 HK 有这份职缺，我就过来了。对，
很喜欢打电动，然后以前也玩过很多的 DOTA 类游戏，电脑上的，然后就是后面手机版推出那个传说对决，我就很有兴趣。
之前的队友找我一起打业余的比赛，然后一开始我们只是想说去拿奖金啊，然后试试看打比赛，就是去享受打比赛的感觉。然后后来刚好有升降赛这个机会，然后让我们赢了有打职业这个机会，然后我们就来试试看，然后让我来打我的梦想这样。
我参加了第2届传说对决的城市赛，然后也获得亚军，然后之后就有那个职业战队找上门，我也说服了我爸妈，同意让我进入职业战队，然后成为职业选手。
我本身就很喜欢 DOTA 这款游戏，然后接触传说对决之后，就想要爬得更高，然后我的理想也是把我自己的兴趣变成一个工作。
传说对决其实扮演一个就像是家人角色，他就像我爸一样，他供我吃，供我住，然后我会努力的想表现给他看。那我就在排位上努力争取。那如果在排行榜上面，我爸他看得到，他就会给我好的零用钱，好的薪水。没错，
就是张开眼闭上眼都是传说对决。
我觉得传说对决现在在我生活中已经变成一个理所当然的一部分，因为这多年经验的累积吧，然后现在变成比较是，如果你要专注在这一份工作、这份游戏上，你要花费很大量的精神跟体力，所以就每天都在摧残我的身心。
传说对决其实改变了我很多，然后融入了我的生活的一部分，然后帮助了我很多啊，不管是个性上，还是心态上，还是跟大家的相处，就已经变成我不可缺的一部分。
我高中想进职业了嘛，然后就是进入职业，真正进入职业之后，却跟我之前的想法有些出入，对，就是没有想象的那么轻松。然后放假也放得特别少，对，然后其实也没什么时间陪家人啊、女朋友啊，大部分的时间都花在那个传说对决身上。我觉得努力是会有回报的啊，就是上一季我们的成绩也打出来了，我们放很少假，可是我们就是努力练习，然后获得好成绩，然后也没想过那么快就有机会可以出国比赛，对。
传说对决2周年生日快乐！
习惯有你，斗争来赢。
传说对决2周年生日快乐！
习惯无力，到底来赢。
到顶来呀！
习惯无力，到顶来呀！
这边前方 HK 的3名成员被这个窄口给卡住，有一点点尴尬，往前做输出。SMG 大举入侵，威斯克显然很残，已经交出瞬移了。这边 Hansel 往前再拿到一个人头，北吞进场没有成功的收到人头，后方的嘎内有机会收吗？没办法，2个人瞬间倒下。
我 Hansel 这个进场直接再把后面那个克里希收掉，
是
宣告一个 ace 4连杀。
出来的那一刻，直接海毛就是往后面拉开了。我现在在进第2波，我有一炸，这个盾也是穿的最刚好哎！
天哪，这个 combo 也贴的太好了吧？
对，这个 combo 很漂亮哦。
我都会完成，他们都是稳稳的这样子拿。
但是我觉得哇，这边一个顺控，然后再一个雷魔阵全部控到了，而且金娜的陆木金刚直接进场，全部人都已经蒸发了。这边 Genji 最后交出了人鱼之身，但是一个拔刀斩是砍真伤啊！
还想说我往下走，怎么没看到人？被你被留住的情况下，回头一勾黑一直开了出来，哇，差一点压低血量。Rush 的伤害量普攻又打出来的情况下话，回头是把 Rush 跟 JJ 给带走 ，Hack 也没办法存活，Q 的话完全没办法推了。
对，这个就是 AHQ 有点贪了哈，他们为了要收一只美娜，
对，
太深了，反而被闪电侠一次就卷到了3只。
把位置血量压到只剩1格了。
我刚才那个情况很像那个老公来，赶快跑！
是的啊，不能让老公多留了。这个电影穿花成功是把尼奥给带走，增加血量，太笑了。
Come on. No need a break for me. Come on. No need a cry for me. No need to run. This is my own place. No one's gonna break me.
What is up, everyone, and welcome to the GCS Unofficial English Broadcast. I am D2. With me, is the source. We obviously have Robbie and Vic on the Taiwanese cast there. And we have our second match of the day. It's going to be J Team versus One Team. And after the win from SNG, One absolutely needs this to stay in the playoff hunt.
Yeah, I mean, J Team can technically drop this series without too much detriment. They could lose a possible first place. It would take a lot, but it is possible. They're pretty much secured in spots 1 or 2. The more likely scenario is that maybe Flash Wolves rally back. They end up taking first place. One team drops to second, and it's possible for SMG to overtake them. But they're in playoffs no matter what crazy scenarios occur.
Yeah, either way for J Team, it seems unlikely they drop out of first just because Flash Wolf seems to be imploding and SMG just has too many games to make up. But we're going to take a look at one team right now. Lover, Tura, Hualin, Shanyo, and Fanta, with Hualin being our star mid laner there, and Fanta being sort of the eye of the beholder player, as he was really over aggressive in some of these matches and kind of just fed and gave the other team advantage. But when the team followed him into battle, suddenly those overly aggressive plays looked like good aggression.
Yes. I believe it's the... Let's see. No. I was looking for something really, really complicated here, but I find that Fanta is a subject of the observation effect in physics, where if we're really paying attention to him, it changes whether or not he's going to succeed or not. If he's kind of running under the radar, he tends to make higher level plays. So if teams are not focused on that support pick, if they're not really looking at Fanta to be that bigger playmaker, he tends to make bigger plays.
Well, let's take a look at J Team here with Yuzon, Neil, Starwinds, and Benny being the support for their side. I think it's the Heisenberg uncertainty principle.
Heisenberg, there we go. I was looking for it. I was like, is it the Heisenberg principle? But the way it's technically described is it's referring to objects and velocity. And so I was like, is that technically the theoretical thing, or is that the actual physical application of the principle? But you are right. It is the Heisenberg principle. But like, I've noticed that when he's playing something that might run a little under the radar, he does better. Except for Yebuneth. When he's on Yebuneth, he does stupid things because Yebuneth is Yebuneth. But like, I don't know. I feel like whenever we forget about Fanta, he opens up and finds his opportunities.
So fun fact, I was a physics major in college, but I forgot all of it. So there we go. All of it's gone. All of that quantum physics is just...
I was a media and 3D design major in college, and I haven't made a 3D model in about 4 years. Nice. 5 years?
Well, I'm an old man, so it's been 10 years since I've been in college. Oh my goodness. You know, when I was a junior and basically had all my requirements complete for graduation, that was when I started to realize that maybe physics wasn't for me, when two entire blackboards were filled up in order to describe hydrogen. And I was like, oh my god. And hydrogen, if you guys don't know, has one proton and one electron, and that's it. And it took up 2 entire blackboards of like the massive variety is what I'm talking about.
I mean, all I'm hearing here is that physics is difficult, and I don't know. Sounds like a cop-out, bro.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing is, like, the math is... I feel like the math in physics is, like, more difficult than the math in math, if that makes any sense. There's, like... Math classes were way easier for me.
True, because math and physics is trying to be applied to an actual given scenario.
Yeah.
So you're trying to actually use it for something, whereas when you're doing theoretical mathematics, you're trying to solve the essence of numbers. So it takes longer to do...
Yeah,
but might end up being easier. I don't know. I have a friend who's a theoretical physicist, and he describes things that I just can't. I can follow him. I can follow him in theory of the theory. Like I can take I can get the grasp of what he's trying to figure out. I just don't understand how he's going about it.
Yeah, theoretical physics is like what I just mentioned times like 10, and it's just nuts because you go down so far down the rabbit hole that to come out of there with an actual idea of how it works and to explain it in layman's terms is like nearly impossible to me, because Essentially, you're just it's like, you know, those videos where you come out in an extremely like expanded or pulled out point of view, and you just go deeper and deeper and deeper and start looking at atoms. That's basically what it is like for physics, because you basically fill a blackboard, and okay, this is, or like not blackboard, but like 2 or 3 lines, like full lines, like this, like X is this, right? And we're gonna insert X into this equation right here, and then that's another equation, like that's 2 or 3 lines, and then that's just H, and then H is this, and it's like, and that happens like 5 or 6 times, and you're like, what are we talking about again? What is this? Because the original thing is now like embedded in like 5 layers deep, and you're like, what is even happening anymore? So it's very hard to talk.
Now that we've gotten on our theoretical physics rant, let's talk about the theory behind this match. That's the best transition I can do. It's really brute force, but it had to happen.
Let's talk about the theoretical physics of one team and J Team.
I mean, the theoretical physics of one team, they are one. That's a real complex equation to things that equal one.
They're the hydrogens of this matchup. They have
exactly the hydrogens in the matchup. They're more complex than they let on. They've just been unable to actually reach the potential of the potential. They've been unable to utilize their potential energy. All right, that's all the physics memes I got.
Well, J Team actually, what does J stand for? Joules. So they have all the energy they need in order to get through this match.
Yeah, they have the energy, which is why they're at the top of the standings. One team has the potential energy to climb up the standings, and they need to convert J Team's Joules into something else, something useful to them. All right, I'm done. Also, something in the chat, I like COD was asking what that Thane skin was. It's some cool Thane skin where he's got a lance and like a giant block as a tower shield.
Yeah, it's absolutely amazing. And I get a huge kick out of every time he uses Valiant Charge, because sometimes he floats, but more often he has the Saturday morning cartoon legs as they just move way faster than they should be going.
Some very, very weird interactions can occur.
All right, well, standard bands coming out here. Roxy and Crickneck, or as I like to call him, Crixie. Though that would confuse people. Or either that or Roxnack.
That's a path to confusion.
Yeah.
If I ever saw one.
The Crixie bat, like, what? Yeah, Crixie. Krixie. Maybe apostrophe as well. Crixie.
Okay, let's not go too far down that rabbit hole.
All right, well, Richter ban out here, which makes sense given what we've seen after a little bit more of a sample size. And the Ignis ban is interesting. It's
I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
You basically just brought us back to pre-patch in terms of the possible picks. And you've said like Roxy's a ban, Crickneck's a ban, and now we're looking at kind of pre-patch play where the mages are still the mages that they were. You're still looking at powerful side laners like Yebeneth and Omen. Lindis is up. Like you still have Lindis, Yebeneth, Omen up.
Yeah.
Plus both power mages.
And Omen doesn't have his nemesis Richter to take him down this time. So
Richter. Yeah, Richter and Roxy. Yeah.
Well, they do pick up Omen here, and that does leave the Lindis open. And we've seen
Lindis Raz. I don't know about the Raz. I'd rather you take the Yebeneth. There we go. Because you've got both power. No, go back. Because you have both power mages still up. You still have Raz and Liliana. But okay, that's not. It's still okay for Star for them to do that, and they can still lean into Crest.
The Tree Brothers. Okay, I was gonna say Baldum.
Yo, nature bros may be homies, but that one ain't gonna work.
I want to see a team of just all nature, just Pura, Baldum, Yebeneth, and some of those members will be pulling harder for the team than others. Some of those heroes will be carrying a little bit harder for their team.
That's a bad way for things to go. The Yebeneth is good. That gives them the additional side lane plus the support flex. The Xenial makes way more sense here. You've now kind of gotten one of the better core 3 support double side lane or tank matchups. You have to be worried now about how smart J Team is in their drafting. They've already grabbed a marksman jungler. They can keep you from having another one if they really want to bully you with like a Violet and a Fennec ban, or a Violet and a Slims ban, and force you to have to try and get creative. We saw Zill sort of work for AHQ, but at the end of the day, they ended up losing the game because they just got beat. So this is we are starting to see teams get very, very good at what you can and cannot do with drafting in the new meta.
Yeah, absolutely. I do. My dream, though, is to see the ultimate debate where Yebuneth goes in, gets surrounded by 4 or 5, gets the Angelic Splendor, pops Nature's Realm when they're all dead. That's my dream. In any case. Sorry, I had to say that. J-Team's hovering around the Malok, which would go on, I'm forgetting, wins? But they go for
yeah, that'd be wins. Or Yuzin.
Yeah, Yuzin usually goes on the more power.
Yeah, he'd be their Kilgroth, so that Kilgroth is probably a Yuzin pick.
Yeah. Wins, I just like forget that he's like part of the team because he's kind of like the Serenia or like the Chaser or something. Whereas like I don't remember him being on the team. The sad Abyssal laners. Feels bad, man.
Yeah, he's not an X Factor player because we don't see marksman in the Abyssal lane like you would expect in other MOBAs.
Well,
so because of that just is a lower impact spot where it's really all about can you just kind of survive or set it up. Sometimes it's the Valheim pick, but honestly, the Valheim tend not to be high impact.
At least they're not standing out for the wrong reasons, like we've seen in the past. In any case.
True. Although I don't understand this Valheim ban from one. You, as J-Team, would not want to go into that. You would want tankier picks. So you just banned your own Valheim option for a side lane if you wanted to go for like this Zill. But you weren't going to pick it? I don't know. That Valheim's a weird ban.
Well, they already have both side laners and their support. If they go any more, it's kind of dicey. So I can see what they're trying to limit.
It serves no purpose then. Because you're not really taking it away from them.
Yeah, well, maybe they thought they were. Anyway, they just kind of underthought it or overthought it or both. In any case, the Murad here is banned out from J-Team. Looks like they don't want to go that route as they probably heading toward that Lindis jungle rather than the Lindis that we've seen a few times. And Malok is the last one banned here, which points J-Team toward the Marja. And I don't know about this Malok ban because, yeah, now J-Team gets a little bit less beefy up front, but it wasn't really part of their team fight to begin with.
It still does. It doesn't serve a purpose. That's 2 bans in a row from one that don't really make a lot of sense. And now you're leaning into no marksman. Grox. God, I mean, you could still go marksman, but
yeah, let's.
Okay, you could wisp jungle. You could get a weird wisp jungle in there, and I wouldn't hate it.
Let's address chat for a moment. Yebuneth has fallen off a bit in 5th pick. No, he has not fallen off. This is just a style thing going on between these two teams. He normally is either banned or one of the first picks, but this time teams just opted.
Also, keep in mind that teams have gotten better at beating Yebuneth. He is not an unbeatable character, and I mean, I can't see what the technical question in chat was, but we are now working in a new type of drafting where he was still taken first half of the draft.
Yeah.
And Mina. Perfect.
Yeah, Mina's good. All right, so Slim's picked out here for 1. I would say that's fine, since there's no real jungler to jump on you, and there's no... I mean, other than the Lindis, who's hard to get to anyway, it's kind of... It might not want to be your priority anyway. You don't really have anyone to jump on, so I'm fine with the Slim's pick here. I think that should have been something that AHQ looked at instead of doing the Fennec thing. But,
yeah.
This looks actually pretty close between these two teams.
Yeah, I'd say both sides got good drafts. You both have power mid laners. You've both got marksman junglers. You've both got strong side laners. You've both got good supports. Nobody here is really lacking for any real team fight capability, although I would say the team fight lean is in favor of J Team. One has got slightly better macro because Shanyo is on the Xenial, so there's opportunity there, as well as they have the better pushing power. Or at least they've got matched pushing power with Omen into Kilgroth, and they've got better macro power on the side of one, and I want to say slight. Even rotations. These are actually really, really even drafts.
Right. The one thing to keep in mind is that one has better re-engage potential, where they take the first hits and then just kind of bait J Team into a bad position, and they get back at them with the Angelic Splendor and Nature's Realm. Whereas J Team has the better pick potential by getting the hook in with the Mina, Dark Dominion, and just completely blowing someone up. So again, it comes down to execution, and when it comes down to execution, I tend to favor J Team, though we've seen Hualin pull off some miracles in the past.
Yeah, you could easily see this game lean off, or this game change rapidly based on Hualin pick. Like, he can just do dumb enough things to win you games in just kind of insane fashion. So for me, the question is going to come down to who macros better, or who draws more aggression towards the Darkslayer, because then that opens up the Lover-Yuzen battle of which one of them is going to need to rotate to help his team win, and which one is going to gain advantage in the push. And then it's a little bit on the mid lane matchup between Hualin and Star. Does one of them manage to do something stupid, find a pick they really, really shouldn't? Also, Benny, stealing away that blue? If he gets that, that's going to be huge.
He's sitting there. I'm not sure if he's actually attacking.
He's doing it.
All right. Well, looks like they're going to be able to... No, I don't know. They're kind of in there. Hualin, Blinding Light, Shining Light. Star isn't able to flicker actually over
almost.
That. Well,
might have needed... It was dangerous, though.
Well, the silver lining is that they're able to at least leash it away instead of just being an immediate take there for one. So not going to have any major advantages going either way here, with Star nearing that Phoenix tier, so he should be fine in the health department going forward. I do want to mention that, again, like we talked about during the draft, Jade's team could have actually had the same draft, but with a Yebeneth in place of either the Marja or the Mina. But perhaps they don't want the sloppy fights of Yebeneth, where he just kind of is up there in the front and stuff happens, like good stuff happens. Whereas
this could be good.
Yeah.
Never mind. Keep going.
Whereas Mina is more kind of a regimented playstyle. It's like you hook, you Dark Dominion, they're dead. There's less sloppiness to it, and I think that's what maybe J Team prefers.
It's possible, but I also think it was very key on the mid lane match. But that's gonna be the pullback in with a flicker. Then instantly, I watched his icon just boop right on top. That's going to be the first kill going over to J Team. Rotation towards the Abyssal Dragon. Great opening play from them. And I think it's more about having Star on the Raz, because it's the Raz that they picked in the first rotation instead of taking the Ebeneth. And I think that it's more that they wanted Raz over Liliana, because that was the priority.
Right, and we've seen some crazy play from Raz on Hualin as well, though his Liliana is nothing to sneeze at, as they are ingressing onto this Abyssal Dragon. This would be a pretty big pickup. Now, the Xenial hovering in the lane there from Shanyo does have punish, but I don't believe he's going to be able to get close.
No Xenial is that wild. That's literally asking to die. Because you could easily get... You could have gotten CC'd out of that. It's possible for Benny and Star to just wreck you in that scenario. Hualin throws a little bit of damage over the wall. Doesn't connect onto anything. And only 500 gold advantage. This game is basically dead even.
Right. J Team, well, once Lindis finishes up this rotation, I think they're going to get a little bit ahead. Yeah, you see they're 400 to 500-ish at this moment. And just a lot of macro from both teams. Not a whole lot of action thus far.
Well, we've known J Team to be the best macro team in the league. Like, Flash Wolves were the best team fighters. J Team just had just immaculate macro strategies, always being in the right place at the right time. Now they're going to make the dive onto Shanyo. They pull him out from underneath the tower. Here comes Neil to get some additional damage in. Ghost walk through for wins. They're going to put a little bit of damage on Afanta, but Shanyo will survive. He will be able to back and Angelic Splendor back in if he wants an opportunity. I want to say that was a bit of a misplay, spacing-wise, by Benny, because of how he tried to walk back instead of just getting in his face immediately and doing a little bit of extra damage.
Yeah, true. By walking away, it prevented some of the damage from the rest of his team.
Oh, they got Tura's dead. Tura's dead. Tura's alive. Tura's alive. Healed by the Angelic Splendor. Damage on the wins. They turn things around. There was a great Nature's Realm to keep Fanta alive. Now Benny on the run. Shanyo is there. The pullback in. Hualin will get one kill. Actually, no, it will go over to Shanyo, but you will take that every day of the week.
That was so close. And that was on a marksman too. So when you see a sliver of health, that is really a sliver of health. Literally anything will take him down there, and they might actually get a tower out of this, as it looks like Fanta is keeping watch over the potential rotation over just a few more shots. And yeah, Fanta is enabling this to happen. Tura, very low in health, has to get out of here. But here's a rotation from Neo, going to punish them. But there's a nice spear. He ends up going down in the end. Another Nature's Realm comes up. The Dark Dominion's not going to affect him, but good spreading here from J Team as they're able to take down 2, punishing that tower take.
And that's objective to J Team, so they should be able to also take this bottom tower to get the additional kill.
Hualin.
First chance. If he manages to get that stun, now he eats a power surge. He dashes away, goes walk through, uppercut, and that is a dead Hualin. And what looked like one, battling back and maybe a minor overextension, turned into 3 dead, a tower answered, and a Abyssal Dragon taken. Words.
You just saw, by the way, the strengths of both teams, though. That initial team fight from one, just to re-engage, just never saying die in that situation, as they thought they had the kill, but then Nature's Realm, but then Angelic Splendor, and everyone's stuck in those circles, and everyone stays alive, and they're able to win the team fight. But then, right off the back of that, J Team, they resurrect, they come right to the spot, and just clinical, taking out member after member on the backside. We're seeing the best sides of both teams, but that does leave J Team in a lead.
All right, so Fanta fishing around for his opportunity, but that's going to be Neil dropping Lover fairly low. Should be a rotation up into the top to help support this
Fanta
Omen,
here.
but I think they're going to get him. Fanta steps forward, takes a little bit of extra damage, tried to use the branching out to set up some kind of play, but he's eating power surge after power surge. They're going to back off of this. They don't want to commit to the dive just yet. There are a number of members from the side of one off the map. Spear through, doesn't connect, and it's just going to be this top mid rotation. Now that the bottom tower is down, Marshall will be there to clear, but they're going to move all on this top half of the map for the side of J Team and see what they can get.
Well, while we're here, let's answer another question in chat. Do you think Richter is stronger than Omen? Most likely, considering what we've seen so far. Benny going to go ahead and use the Dark Dominion, but get out of there instead, as here's the Death Embrace onto Benny. Not sure it's the right case, but he might actually end up going down in the end. Nature's Realm going to finish him off. Lover getting extremely low himself. Wynn's going to stay at the bottom because it doesn't really have that teleport, obviously, but J Team, having lost those members, is just going to rotate out of here. I wonder if one's going to try to take advantage of this. Big spear lands, but they're fighting under tower with 0 minions. They are going to take down Yuzon and Shanyo with that big angel booty, able to survive through that tower.
Yeah, you don't get that kill, and honestly, this ends up not being valuable. That's me, Fanta uppercut, KO, punched, kick to the face. Star hits him with the 1-2 combo. Honestly, that's more of a 1-2-3, but still. Solid play there from Star. Now a Ghost Walk on the Hualin. Nice bit of damage there just to keep him in check, and gold still even, so one holding on. I think that they're falling a little bit behind when it comes to objective control, but they're still keeping this fight going.
Yeah, neither team really has a huge advantage over the other when it comes to that late game, so it's not like teams are waiting to scale. It's just a straight out fight from both of these teams. Dark Dominion coming onto Lover, and there's the Angelic Splendor, so he should be fine. And both teams will back off. As I say that, looks like Winds is trying to get in there, trying to poke some damage on them. Able to get a couple of power surges off as well is Star. The minions coming onto this tower. Hualin a little bit spooked by multiple members potentially being here, but they're going to go ahead and clear out these waves as members disperse to their proper sections, but no, just kidding.
Mostly a rotation cutoff, but Shanyo's going to go in. He's going to get uppercut, pulled out. Dark Dominion there as well. They do still have one cannon minion, so they might be able to step up and take this tower. Fanta now has to Redwood Rush away, and that's going to be objective. So off of seeing the Angelic Splendor used, a massive migration to the top, J Team is able to cut off the rotations by keeping Star in the side jungle, and they end up getting the tower and a kill on Shanyo. Now pressure into the mid lane, looking for some poke. Star steps up to the plate, looking for a little bit of damage on the Hualin, but they should be able to clear out this minion wave, and with the tower going down, there isn't a whole lot to aggress on, but J Team starting to build the advantage.
Yeah, J Team really pushing in here. Was that a flicker in by someone? The weird camera angle, but Neil is way in there. Not sure he really wants to be, but dealing the damage certainly, and the siege minion will take credit for that last tower. What was funny was before they actually rotated to the top lane, there was a bit of a stop on the way from Star, and that not only fooled me, but apparently fooled the side of one as well. They didn't really expect 4 members to be rotating in that direction, and it worked in the end as one got decimated there, and J Team went from being somewhat even to now starting to build that lead as we get into these major objectives on the map.
Yeah, I mean, the gold is only about 3,000, but the control is definitely there for the side of J Team. They haven't built a massive item advantage over their opponents, but as you can see from this gold chart, things just kind of start to spiral. That fight in the bottom gives them advantage. They get the additional kills. They take the tower. They take the dragon. And now they're looking at an enraged Abyssal Dragon. Lover is sneaking around there. Fanta steps really deep in enemy territory. We'll take a little bit of damage from the Marja, but that's fine. She's also now picked up her Tome of the Reaper, so goodbye Yeboneth, goodbye Lover, the two of them, and Xenia, like all of them with their massive health bars and healing are just, ooh, it's going to be a bad time.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's something that they're really cognizant of picking up, especially on a member like Marja who can afford it, because there's really only the 2 items in the beginning of her build that are necessary for her sake. So good pickup from them. A nice move up by one, by the way. And J Team, they were trying to take that enraged Abyssal Dragon immediately, and one sniffed it out, realizing that if they let the Abyssal go...
bait, though, they get the slow on the Shanyo. He takes so much damage trying to Angelic Splendor away. He will survive.
There's no stun from those members, so yeah, able to get out there. But again, one realizing that if they give up a major objective, that it might snowball into a victory for J Team. And you see Fanta trying to move up here, but unable to do anything by himself. And that just means that, even though I complimented one a second ago, they give up the Dark Slayer.
I mean, what we're seeing is J Team is controlling Shanyo, and what I mean by that is not just he's getting kills, but they are forcing his Angelic Splendors and then taking something else. They either force a fight to make him Angelic Splendor in, they get out of there, they take an objective. Or in that scenario, they force him to have to Angelic Splendor away, they get out, they take an objective. They're literally making him have to change the numbers on the map in awkward ways, and then out-rotating them to the next opportunity.
Ooh, this is dangerous here from J Team. The only 3 members in the vicinity. Looks like Star's going to come over, try to help out. Benny's just trying to stall out as long as possible. Big Shining Light comes on to 2 there, but okay, looks like this Enraged Abyssal Dragon has reset here. And Yuzon might be on his way over. He is migrated over to the mid lane, and he is kind of in position, more in position, to be able to help take out the Enraged Abyssal Dragon, as Benny's trying to hold them off. Dark Dominion on to 2. There's no follow-up, but it's still holding them off. Neil's going to try to take this down. In comes the Angelic Splendor. Lover's extremely low, and this was just zoning. They're winning the fight by zoning 4v5, and they take the Abyssal Dragon in the end.
I mean, Xenial doesn't do a whole lot unless he can dive with the team. They're taking consistent damage from Wins, who's keeping good angles. Same with Star, playing over the wall, being able to keep them very, very busy. And now they're going to pop the Drake. They've got the Abyssal Dragon buff. They're basically knocking on the door at the end of this game, and I don't see an opportunity for one to get in unless they manage to find Neil. And now they got to kill him about 1.5 times. His damage is starting to get up there. He does have his Omni Arms. That's going to pull back in onto Lover, Dark Dominion there, but they haven't. Now they get the damage. It took them a couple of seconds before they broke through. And Tura just gets completely obliterated, forced out Angelic Splendor again.
Shanyo's dead.
And that is going to be top. Shanyo dies to the 2. They're going to drop that tower and maybe even end the game here. Now pressure into the mid lane. Damage onto Hualin. Dive forward with the Ghost Walk. That's a decent Nature's Realm that is keeping them there, stopping them from being able to do a whole lot, but using it. He's still alive. Great Dark Dominion in there by Lover. Redwood Rush from Fanta. He does put his hands together.
Lover!
He tries to keep them there. Lover, he survives by the skin of his teeth, but that is going to be game 1 going over to J Team.
Oh my goodness.
Isn't it? Padding stats.
They're playing with their food right
Padding stats.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah, teams are getting a lot better at finishing out these games. They're getting... I know it's been a couple months since the map has come out, but they're really honing down these timings, homing down the rhythm. And we see these leads balloon from 1,000 to 10,000 in a blink of an eye, and the game just ends.
Yeah, it spirals out of control very, very quickly for these teams. And what we kind of saw was the Raz had a better effect, so picking the Raz early, the Lindis as well. The jungle capability of the Slims felt very, very weak. The Marja won the lane up against Zenio for the most part, and it just looked like you said at the beginning of the game, even draft goes to J Team. Even draft across the board, good team comps on both sides, J Team's going to out-execute you.
Yeah, and we saw that time and time again. Like you were mentioning with forcing out the Angelic Splendor, that is... I don't want to say AoE 101, but it's one of the major tenets of playing these professional games and higher level ranked games is that you force out the long cooldown ultimate, the game-changing ultimate, and then you can take the team fight. And they're able to do that with Nature's Realm, they're able to do that with the Death's Embrace, they're able to do that with the Angelic Splendor, and if you take a fight after that, you're going to win.
I think they did it one step further, because they weren't really taking the fight in the same way. They were 3 out of 4 times they forced Angelic Splendor rotated to a different objective. Like it wasn't about they took that basic principle of extract as many resources from your team and they used it to move Shanyo around the map. They were like, no, you're gonna go over there.
You're gonna go over there, and then we're gonna rotate and kill you.
They moved him like a chess piece by forcing him, based on the way that character works, because it's a repositioning ultimate, to go somewhere else. And like that is impressive to take, like you said, a very basic strategy for a team and push it beyond. Same thing as like we've talked about with the Clockwork strategy, which was originally played by J Team. J Team would set up on a tower and used Metamorphosis to help them take a tower. That's a normal thing to do. They just pushed it to the limit, and then they would drop 4 towers on you the same way, just as soon as the ultimate was up.
Yeah, and again, just masterful play there from J Team, kind of coming back into the swing of things after we saw a mini slump from them, losing to SMG and Flash Wolves, though in retrospect the loss to SMG is not something that can be considered a fluke. But
no, that's par for the course. Losing the Flash Wolves, though, granted that's Flash Wolves with Shishi, so
yeah.
Oh god, I'd really love to know if Shishi is coming back.
It's like depressing, right? It's like if they don't have Shishi, it's like, oh no.
It feels like such a different team, and to the credit of SMG has kind of rallied as a unit, and they're kind of doing everything better, like across the board.
Yeah.
We've seen Flash Wolves drop in their team fighting. J Team, after losing to SMG, the question would be, did they lose how to macro? Did they lose how to be this very clean-cut execution team? Clearly not. They can clearly still do that.
Well, let's talk about game number 2, and let's look at these highlights first, I suppose.
This was the one time Angelic Splendor did what it was supposed to do.
Yeah, that and the Nature's Realm. It was one of those situations where a lot of times when Angelic Splendor comes down, you either burn on the person that they're trying to save, or you run away, because they're going to get lots of resistance and you're going to get bait into a fight. And the Nature's Realm prevented them from doing either, because it slowed them from either finishing off Slims or running away, and that led to their demise in that one fight there. But after that...
Yeah, no, that was the Fanta principle. We weren't really looking at Fanta to do a whole lot. in that one instance, we thought that it was a foregone conclusion that the Slims was going to die, and lo and behold, perfect Nature's Realm to keep Slims, giving him just enough space to not be saved by the Angelic Splendor. So Fanta did his best work when we kind of counted him out. Because he was also off in the bush, too. There wasn't great vision of him from the start. You thought he was kind of pushed out of the angle. Like, he wasn't really in the team fight.
He melded with the trees.
Yeah, he melded with the trees.
Because he is a tree. Oh my goodness, it all comes together. Anyway. Alright, getting into this next game, game number 2. Now, we saw what happened with an even draft, so ergo, one needs to either completely win this draft, or they need to outplay J Team.
Yes.
So this is going to be...
Well, we also didn't see a lot of Hualin. Hualin didn't do a whole lot that game. And that's not really... I won't say that's... I won't count that as a disqualifying factor. Hualin is still a great player, but he didn't have an opportunity to really do a whole lot that game.
That was one of those. That was one of those basketball games where you see a player get 20 points and 10 rebounds, and you're like, "Really? I don't remember that happening." But at the end of the game, he had 33% of his team's damage. So it's like, well, I guess he was doing something.
Yeah, no. He played well. Like he played as a very good player. It just wasn't X factor play, and that's what that's what we expect out of Hualin. So when he doesn't do that, it looks like one seems to be slipping a little bit. And he didn't have one of those insane plays. And also, I might say that that's also part of J Team taking his Raz away, and part of why they prioritize that over the Yebeneth. Shut down Hualin. Granted, he's still an incredibly good Liliana. He has many other heroes under his belt. But his Raz is where he's at home. So that could have been part of the strategy there. And if they don't take it on this rotation in 1, which honestly I'd kind of be okay with them doing that, like Raz Yebeneth.
I'm gonna address chat because I feel like more people will have these questions as well. These are very standard bans at the moment in Taiwan.
Yes.
The Ignis we kind of like 1% disagree with, but he's been pretty good, especially in the last series that we saw. But Richter, Crickneck, and Roxy certainly first ban worthy, and Crickneck has just been the best assassin jungler as of late by far. Linda's first pick, she's been one of the best the junglers as well. So it's basically Linda's Crickneck with a slight edge going to Crickneck in teams' opinions. But yeah, these are perfectly normal. So just laying that out there.
And another thing to keep in mind, guys, is on this patch, the Soul Reaver change has come through. So Crickneck gets way more terrifying, and Violet is a lot less terrifying because she doesn't get the same value on the Soul Reaver. So Lindis has risen as the premier marksman jungler because she can still go... We have seen some Mr. Stabby builds, but she can still go into Scorching Wind and get massive value out of it. So we do see one picking up the Raz, put that onto Hualin, give him the highest potential to do something crazy. Yebeneth Liliana to answer back to balance out the 2 power mages, as well as taking the Yebeneth away from Fanta, because it had some opportunity. That is not a real Omega pick. Don't even look at me with that. There we go. Crush makes sense.
I was rooting for it.
I mean, I'm always okay with people pulling out crazy picks every once in a while. It's just... there's degrees, right? There's good, or there's like S tier, A tier, acceptable, bad, crazy. You have to go beyond bad to hit the crazy realm, and then I'm okay because it's a crazy pick and there's no way anybody saw it coming, as opposed to a bad pick. Like Wisp is bad, Omega's crazy.
I was 100 degrees into that, just to enter your degrees. Anyway, but we did see. Okay, we have to go back to the Toro pick from I think it was
like Toro's bad,
but he. I would say crazy, but they actually won with him. But it made sense in retrospect, though. I don't think there's ever a spot for it.
Like in a scenario like this, it would be like Batman is crazy, whereas Batman's bad? So you put Batman in the bad category?
I would say either bad or crazy, but Rush would disagree with you. Though Rush has been doing weird things. I don't know what's going on with Rush.
Rush would say crazy, you would say bad.
No.
Like, that's kind of how the scale goes.
No, Rush loves Batman. That's the thing.
No, but that's why. He loves it. So he'd say it's crazy. It's just crazy enough to work. because he knows it's not high meta, but he's still willing to play.
Does he? I don't think
I'm pretty sure Rush knows it's not high meta. Otherwise, he'd force his team to pick it more often. But he thinks that there's an opportunity for it to do something wild and open up a strategy you wouldn't think so. Therefore, crazy.
All right. Well, thank you to Devil for hosting, and welcome Devil
Hey, Devil.
fans. And this is the GCS, the $100,000 Taiwan Team League, and home of the best players in the world the best teams in the world in our opinion. Currently, J Team versus One Team, middle of the draft, and looks like they're looking at an Akroth.
I'm okay with it as long as you find another solid damage source, because you've got a really good skirmishy team fight right now, as well as one big team fight ultimate to answer things back. They're not leaning into a Chognar on the side of J Team, so you will get metamorphosis value. Although kind of running it back in a lot of senses. I like it from J Team. You've now swapped out for what would be considered a higher playmaking support, or at least somebody on the same level as Mina with the Yebeneth, and you've equaled out with the other power mid laner with the Liliana. You've still got, J Team's won the draft here.
J Team has the exact same draft as last game if they had gone for the Yebeneth over the Raz.
Yeah. They literally would have ended up with this draft. This would have been their first 3 picks. They would have gone Lindis, Yebeneth, Liliana after the Raz was taken by One Team on the other side. Yeah, now, J Team has now won or gone even in the draft. One Team can still go even, just not with Scud. This would be a Whisper Talanis pick. You need something else high. You need something else that's going to scale well. And although Scud can endlessly okay, Yorn. I think you still lost the draft, but you got a lot closer.
I am not a very big Nekroth fan after this patch. I just don't think he scales very early or very fast in the early game, and it takes him a while to have any effect. And in that time, your opponent can
Neil
open up a lead.
is scaling and doing damage at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it is still an advantage One Team. But if they'd pick Scud, or advantage J Team. But if One Team had picked Scud, I'd been like, so like this right here is like a 60-40 J Team. If it had been the Scud pick, it would have been like an 80-20 J Team.
One team needs to cross their fingers and pray that they get to the late game, because they are not winning the early game.
No. No. They could. So they're in all senses, no, they're not gonna win. They're not gonna win the early game, but they're tanky enough to win the early game in the overcommitment department. If that makes sense, like tanks hold that high value of those early health bars before anybody has any real damage. So it's possible that there's some X factor play coming in from Hualin, because he is on his Raz, and you get an overcommitment by J Team. But if all things were to go even, if both teams were to play non-committal dives and just farm, one is in a bad spot.
Yeah, and I expect J Team to open up that lead in the beginning of the game. So we'll see how this turns out for one. I'm not optimistic as we get started here. I'm not sure what J Team is going to do. I imagine they're going to take their own jungle here, just play it safe in the very, very early stages of the game and just take advantages as fights break out around the major objectives.
Yeah, in this scenario, without having the Mina, J Team doesn't really want to invade because they don't have a great answer CC-wise. You also want Marja and Kilgroth both in their lanes where they do their best work. The Marja Yorn matchup's a little awkward to the point where Marja might kill the Yorn, but the Yorn should literally never take that fight in his life. So we'll see if it actually even gets to that point.
The changes to Yorn help him in the early game, in which he's able to do a little bit more damage. Also, his abilities are less clunky, so you're able to, theoretically get more damage out that way as well.
Yeah.
So that's one thing going for One Team, and probably one of the reasons why they picked the Yorn.
He just doesn't need to take the fight. If he just doesn't take the fight, then there's no chance of him dying. Like, if he takes the fight, he could lose it. If he never takes the fight, he will just farm. And he will just get damage, and he will just build up.
Well, the strategy that we've seen in the past of Yorns just hiding behind the tower and only just poking at the Abyssal Dragon when they have the positioning to do so, that could be something, but we've seen J Team play very aggressively and dive under towers, so I feel like this Yorn could just die even if he plays very passively.
He could. That's really good positioning. Oh, no, they backed off of it. That would have been really good. They're going to put a little bit of damage onto Wins. They dive pretty far in for this. They're going to go for everything. They're going to be able to pick him up. That's a great opening play by one team to recognize that beyond just the no Ghost Walk, that Hualin could commit and there wasn't going to be anybody who could rotate and punish. Now we see the 5-man rotation in for one. They've got the Omen looking to join in on this, and looks like J Team are going to forego this objective. They know they couldn't take it if Omen showed up, and that's advantage.
Yeah, good decision by J Team though, because the only way they lose to one is if this snowballs out of their control, and as long as they're within 1,000 gold behind, they can still pull this back because they're J Team. So I like the decision. Just cut your losses at the moment. And I just want to say I've never seen a Yorn outside of the craziest solo queue games flicker forward to secure a kill. That was fun from Shanyo to get the kill in the margin.
I mean, I'm down. Shanyo put on the aggression. Redwood rush over the wall. Okay, Benny looking for his opportunities. They're going to cut off Fanta on the side. That's going to be an easy Metamorphosis bait out, so they can probably back away from this. But Hualin with the plays. He pulls in 3. Can they manage to finish off Neil? That's going to be a great power surge in to do that, and they bait out the Nature's Realm. J Team on the run, proxy waves from the Omen on the side. Nakroth on there to be able to back him up in case Kilgroth thought there was a fight, and Hualin's not done. He's now going to put some pressure onto Benny. Benny does Redwood rush forward to push Fanta away from him. They will reset for the moment, but dear God, you put him on Raz, and he just lights up. Now pressure onto Wins. They're thinking about it again, but
yeah,
dear merciful heaven, this player is good.
Hualin with the hero
He's
plays.
going onto Star. He's now going to get hit. DJ Benny is going to be able to put his hands together, mix him back up.
Well, okay. Someone asked in chat why Hualin went in as Liliana versus 4 when they were anywhere between half health and lower health on the side of JT. That is why, because he believes in his ability to not only make plays, but he also believes that he needs to make the plays, and we can certainly see why.
Yeah, it is a bit of a concern that he couldn't do the same thing he did on Liliana, although last game, although we've seen him do similar play styles. But give this man his Raz, get that confidence back on the side of one team, secure yourself a game, and look to even things out with a different draft as things go forward. Now we see Tura stepping in, putting in a bit of pressure. He's looking to steal this away, has to jump out because Winds just dished in the damage, and so did Neil. They actually pulled the Abyssal Dragon, but Fanta, you are in serious trouble. That's going to be the branching out, slow down, and they're even going to use the Redwood Rush. That's a dead Crushed, and also probably an objective into the hands of Neil, as Nakroth has to back up. So, step too far forward, get smacked down.
Tura, you are not Hualin. Do not try to fight 1v2. I'm sorry. It's not going to work out.
Is Hualin even Hualin? He's thinking about it.
He's like, am I
he was like, am I me? I am me. I am Hualin, therefore I dive.
Well, he thought better of it in the end there. But yeah, that dive in from Tura directly caused Fanta's death and the Abyssal Dragon take, and Fanta, even now, he has to come back and build up his Metamorphosis even after that. So Tura making a bit of a mistake on his side, and just don't go in if Hualin's not by your side. Sometimes you think you're Superman, but you're actually Robin, even though I got the heroes mixed up.
Superman, you're actually Robin? Okay. Yeah. I mean, let's be real. Robin, if he were on the entire battlefield, would probably rather be the psych. Oh God, Betty, you are in no man's land, friend. You are surviving. You are alive. You survived way too long, but now Hualin does leave Fanta. Fanta gonna dive back under the tower, uses his shield, being chased by the Reiki shot. He's gonna get finished off because they had already lost Lover in the top lane. Tower drops. J Team begin their execution of one by executing plays all around the map.
Yeah, and this is exactly what I was talking about. As long as they don't fall too far behind, speaking of the early game against one, they knew that between their own execution and potential mistakes coming out from one, that they could come back in this game, and come back they certainly have.
What was it? I was attempting to make some kind of meme. I can't remember what it was.
It's okay. I believe it
doesn't
was
matter.
a good meme.
Any meme that dies in your train of thought wasn't worth saying in the first place.
Right. Well, I believe it was spicy.
But I just said it was useless.
It's okay. I believe it's okay. I believe in you, like I believe in Hualin, and like Hualin.
Put your faith in Hualin, because that's the only way this is gonna work. Yuzen dashes forward but doesn't manage to make it over the wall. Hualin steps up, runs into the Yevoneth, but should be fine. That's gonna bug me. Anyways, one team, they're still very much in this game, but they gotta get a couple of people to some very specific items. Hualin needs to be a little deeper in his build. Tura needs to be way deeper in his build before he's gonna do anything significant, but that's when you use putting pressure on the Lover. But here comes Neil. You use that Death's Embrace, friend, but that is not gonna work out for you, and now Tura has to back up.
That should have been a Death's Embrace to run away. He Death's Embrace in. You should have Death's Embrace out. If you guys don't know, you actually run when you do that, so you can actually use it as an escape. Tura trying to jump in. Tura needs to stop trying to fight two people. And he's going back in. Okay, maybe with Hualin by his side he can make this happen, but only if Hualin's there.
Only if Hualin's there, and only if Hualin pops off. It's a lot.
It's okay. He's got those big yellow fists. He's fine.
Anyways, we'll see J Team possibly set themselves up onto another objective. We do have Neil rotating towards bottom half of map. He'll clear out his Might Golem and then maybe set something up. There's going to be a little bit of damage from Star, but Star really hasn't been popping off in terms of his opportunities to make plays. Wins and Neil will start this up. They're going to be scattered out by Fanta and Shanyo, but I don't really know if Shanyo wants to do that. He still hasn't had an opportunity to really get too far into his build. That's going to be the burst going forward. He's going to go into Shanyo. There's going to be the Metamorphosis. They're looking to get on top of Neil. They do not commit
the flank. Here comes Star.
Here comes the flank. Star, he's going to get the stun out. The Reiki shot isn't going to connect. There's finally some solid damage from Shanyo. And we've got Hualin waiting in the wings. He's going to find Star unless Benny runs into him first. He does get to get the power surge over the wall. Jukes out Benny. They can't really turn that into too much more. So Hualin, he's always looking for those opportunities. Now we're going to see Fanta and Lover looking to take away. No, the buff. It went on to Yuzen. He could even continue to dive. He's slowly becoming a pretty significant monster in this top lane. 2-0-0 and building up his items. No one's really been able to put pressure on him.
Yeah, and that's the second time in a row we've seen Yuzen just steal away the buff. Tura just buffless this entire game. Is Yuzen just saying, no, this is mine, go away. And that's allowing his team not only to get higher in gold, but also denying it from the other team and continuing to build this late for J Team. And like we mentioned, the good teams are the ones who snowball leads quickly, and this has turned into a 5,000 gold lead at the moment.
Yeah, this is slowly getting out of control, and I feel bad for Tura. Maybe the casters can get him a couple of cans of buff, and he'll feel better at the end of the match. But for now, we see finally getting some damage onto that. Shanyo has his crit, he has his Clavis Sancti. He could still be a big playmaker for that team, but that's gonna be the Nature's Realm going through. Who ended up getting that buff? I think it actually did go on to use onto Tura, but Lover
dying in his own Death's Embrace.
Gotta run so far to get away from you.
Who's embracing death now? He's just.
I mean, using just we did just see Liang fight in the middle. You have enough under trouble? Okay, no, he's fine. We saw Liang put some threat on Sun's throne. Yuzen wants to be in that conversation. He's just going to be a monster this game, a quiet monster.
Or, I mean, I don't know. Kilgroth is very, very loud. He's always screaming.
Yeah, but, how many plays have actually been towards top? Maybe one.
Yeah, well, I want to talk about the build here from Hualin for a moment, because he just picked up Hecate's item that gives him Boomstick and Hecate's, which is a lot of damage on his side. And remember, he has Magic Pierce built into his kit, so watch for these power surges to be doing a lot more damage, and that's probably the only way that one's going to get back into this game. Tura,
pressure from Tura on the Star. Star very, very low, or Tura very, very low. But Hualin, he starts to set it up, he goes back in, he looks to get Benny, but he gets brought down. I mean, the man can only make so many plays. Exactly. The team is going to have to back him up. So we see J Team setting up on what could possibly be a death push. They have Dark Blessing. That's going to be a good Metamorphosis to cut off the angle, but there's no one to do any damage, and it would have been better if it had actually fully connected. Now we see Shanyo looking to show up to the fight, do some damage, but he's being ripped apart by Yuzen. Yuzen puts it in together. DJ Benny claps back, and J Team will take this win.
Oh my goodness, that slap. You just slapped all of them together. They were stuck in place for forever, and J Team says, well, that was easy.
What
Oh my goodness.
a branching out. That's how you end a game. That's how you end a game with style.
Tura was very disappointing in that game, and I'm not sure if it was Tura or if it was Necroth or most likely both, but that was not the jungle play that they needed.
I'm gonna say it was Necroth, and
I just don't feel like he's very good in this current environment.
No, he's gotten a lot weaker, which means that. So what we've seen,
Wallen, he tried so hard. Wallen tried so hard.
Wallen did more damage than J Team,
and his
more
only
damage than Star.
It's not like he's padding his stats like a Liliana who can use Shining Light and hit 3 people, right? He's
getting in there.
His only AOE is melee from melee range, unless you count, a power surge with boomstick. That's the only exception. But
no, Holland deserves better. I don't want to hate on J Team, but Holland deserves better.
On one team, you mean? Yeah.
Or on one team. But I think jungle-wise, we're seeing an interesting evolution. We had marksman junglers for an impressively long time. Then we saw people starting to branch into the Necroth, bringing out the Maraud, bringing out the Cricknack before this patch hit. Now that this patch hit, Cricknack is godly, Lindis is godly, and then every other jungler after that is in this weird middle tier where you've got Zephys, you've got Fennec sometimes.
I'd much rather have Zephys than, literally, I think Zephys is by
I would
himself.
rather have Zephys over the Necroth. I just think people have forgotten how to play him because he's been out of meta for so long, or at least they're not thinking about him in a lot of the drafts. And just the jungle options have gotten so weird to the point where...
I think you'll agree with me here. So I think the top tier are Lindis and good job using. The top tier are Lindis and Cricknack, and then the next tier is Slims, Zephys, and then it's a drop off from there.
Yeah. I can agree with that. Slims is still a bit of a slow starter for me, so I think it requires the team to be a little bit more on point in terms of their protection of him. But I would say that that's fairly agreeable. S tier with those top two. A tier with Slims and Zephys, and then everyone else is in this weird spot because you can't really run Violet. You don't really want to run Fennec unless you've got a specific Fennec strategy. You can't really run Necroth because he's too slow to ramp up without getting any kind of damage until technically his second or third item. And I think that the jungle meta needs to very much evolve for just every region, because once this patch hits NAEU Brazil, they are going to run into some weird picks because they're still heavily prioritizing. I spent some time watching Valor series today. They still play a lot of Teamy. They are very heavily reliant on the Violet, which they're going to have to reconsider how they position that in their drafts. They don't play a lot of assassin junglers. Cricknack is fairly rare, although No Mercy, who's a Brazilian player who got highlighted by the Valor series. He's apparently a really top tier Cricknack, so he's gonna get a massive buff if people let him have his Cricknack. He's playing it a patch ago, so that's gonna be permaban for him. And if you ever let it through, it's gonna be unbearable. So the jungle meta is gonna. I think that's where we're gonna see.
I'm looking through my own tier list. What about a Zuka? Because it's very similar to Cricknack. It's very similar to Cricknack. He's very mobile.
I think it's a little less mobile.
Right.
But no. I don't know. I haven't sat down to think about what the junglers are going to be, and that I think is going to be the most interesting thing we're going to see as we get through the end of the GCS, as we have the RPL finals, as this patch hits NA, finishes up the rest of the Valor series, and then into Sao Paulo for the Valor series. Their meta is going to be freaking crazy because they're going to have to develop one similarly to what the GCS has done, but they're going to have to come up with a whole bunch of junglers the GCS is still figuring out right now.
I think people need to be more.
And there's going to be a lull. There's going to be like a 2-week lull in competition coming out of Asia. Because RPL will finish on the 20th. GCS will finish the first week of November, something like that. November 14th. So there's going to be a little bit of time where there isn't going to be any source material for NAEU and Brazil to draw from.
I think that people need to be more creative with what they're trying to work and not just work off the last patch, but maybe look several patches back with their jungle picks, because Necroth just isn't getting it done, and neither is Murat.
Bring back Butterfly.
I wouldn't. Well, at least try it, right? At least try it.
Bring back a Soul Reaver into full tank build. Go Soul Reaver, tank item, or go Soul Reaver. If you get fed, go Rank Breaker.
I would even go even farther back. I would go farther back. I would go Irie. I would go Irie. I would go maybe even Scud.
I feel like Scud's clear is going to run into issues. You're gonna be too slow starting.
That's true. Okay, but the thing is, you need the kill pressure once you hit 4, and Necroth just doesn't have that kill pressure right now at 4.
No, but that's why I'm like, Irie might be something. Wukong. I'm seeing that somebody suggesting that in the chat. Sure, bring back Wukong. He could totally fit into. He really has the kill potential at 4. He would feel very quick in terms of jungle clear if played properly. Honestly, the jungle meta is going to have to evolve, because Tencent has said marksman junglers do not get to just get a free pass.
I think Xanus might be actually okay too.
Sure, but just open up to new possibilities.
I'm just wary about having Wukong be a top tier jungler in pro play, because it's going to turn to Hearthstone for me again, where it's like, can he hit the crit? Oh, he did. Okay, and they win the game. Anyway,
I mean, you build that build just right, and you always hit the crit.
I'm talking about early game. I'm talking about level 4 though. Like,
level 4, you get. I mean, that money crit though. That money crit level 4 combo just freaking wreck someone. I'm down.
Yeah, and if you guys don't know, Wukong has a special crit where all of the damage that's included in the passive, that base damage, is also part of the crit, which usually isn't the case when they calculate crits. So it's he gets a little bit of bonus when he crits.
Anyways, drafting is wild in the GCS, and I think it still needs to evolve in the next few weeks.
Yeah.
Any EU in Brazil are going to have some fun.
Yeah, well, we hope they do, but that is going to be it for our cast. A very quick cast, as we had 2 surprisingly quick series that could have perhaps been predicted for our second series, though you never know what happens. But our first series, oh my goodness, does SMG look absolutely amazing at the moment. It's going to be a fun playoffs as we near those playoffs. We have 1 week left of the GCS regular season. Make sure you tune in for that, and that's going to be on the 18th, 19th, 20th, and 21st. And I will get the right now the description below is not updated, but I'll try to get that updated as quickly as possible. But thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you guys on the 18th. Goodbye.
Before we go, I'm gonna say this now. SMG is gonna make the AIC.
All right, heard it here.
Hold me to it.
I will. I will physically fly over there and hold you to. I'll make like a representation of your claim and just. Okay. Anyway, enough of that. Bye bye. Thanks, guys.
And peace.